I guess we've started at this point, but welcome to Unclicked.
Yes.
Terry Adams, fresh off the plane.
Thank you for having me.
Straight plain Uber podcast.
And made some friends with the Uber driver. He's going to come pick me up. So.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
That's Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
What brings you to California?
Well, first off, to see you guys. You know, I'm stoked to be here, but really the trip was first planned to go to the Red Bull offices to get my blood work done.
Okay.
Just to kind of see where I'm at, see just how low the testosterone levels really are, you know.
Those are the back to the beard dye again, basically.
Yeah, I've kind of, just with my obsessive personality, I've kind of I feel like put my body through the ringer. And at first my body was responding well to like all the working out and the running. And then over the past, I'd say, year and a half, 2 years, I felt like the recovery is just like really slowed down to where it was enough for me to like, I was telling Red Bull, like, I'm going to get my blood work done here in Louisiana and then I'll send you the results. And they were like, no, you should come out here. That way we could do a more, you know,
like a more thorough.
Yeah, more thorough test to kind of like really look at everything.
Objective thing, because I always feel like when you know, I had blood work done at some random place and I never did anything afterwards. So, but it's like when they do this and it's like you're going to the doctor, he's going to give you the cure because they make money off of it. They're never going to say you're okay. So you get Red Bull, I feel like it's a third party. They're going to say, hey, like actually your blood work's fine if it is indeed fine.
Yeah, and I had it tested in like 2021 in like my town, and my test levels were like really low. And then when I like brought it up to the UCI doctor, he said, you'll get banned if you take anything. And I had already had my prescription to get like gel. I had to choose between gel or the shot, and I was like, oh, the gel's that's gonna be cool. But I just like opted out of it because obviously I was still going to all the UCI events, and he said I would be like banned for life even if I took something like over the counter. So
wow. So that's
a whole other thing.
Yeah. What an incredible resource though with Red Bull, because I've never thought about it that way. You get your blood work done, or you go somewhere where they might give you results in order to sell you something. But someone like Red Bull, you're a Red Bull athlete, they want you, their goal, they want you to be the best athlete you can be, and there's no other kind of motive other than for you to be great. Yeah. And you to obviously
what's best
make Red Bull look great, and which you do. But like, you are just with that, I think, in such a prime spot by having that and taking advantage of it. So, and that's like when I was talking to the nutritionist, I was like, maybe I'm going to get on this stuff. Maybe the doctor at Red Bull is going to tell me that. And he's like, oh no, the doctor's probably not going to use that as a first option. So I'm excited about that too, to see like if they are low, like what can we do to like try to bring them back up? Maybe it can be through nutrition, you know? Yeah. Which seems like it would be the ideal method anyways. Because for sure I've been like under eating. Like that's for sure. I figured that out, you know. Is this,
so another thing, obviously you have the documentary is available on Amazon. Finally. Been a long road. Is this the correct one before this? Yeah, this is, right?
That's it.
Yeah, okay. Let's let this play for a little bit. You're not going to be able to hear it, but it's all right.
I'm 14. I'm from Henry,
You've heard it before.
Yeah, for sure.
Things didn't really click for me as a kid. It kind of seemed like I was doing everything backwards. Everything changed when I found that bike. The fact that I was making that bike move, I was connected.
He would latch on to things that he felt comfortable about.
My just riding bikes then became an obsession.
The whole idea of Flatland was...
So we'll pause it there, but how long has this been in the works?
About 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
And where did the kind of idea come? I feel like, where did the idea come from? It was something that you wanted to do, or somebody approach you? Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start by saying, like, I had a documentary in 2008, but it was kind of like, it was called Dreams, and it was kind of like me, you know, like, look what I've done, how I got on these covers, how I won these contests, how I got all this media coverage, and I just didn't really have any depth to my life at that point. And as you guys know, like, when you start to get in your 40s,
late 30s, you start to like think about the things that, you know, you're grateful for. And BMX is like, I just wouldn't be the person I am today. And then I started to think about a little deeper into that, and like a lot of the people that I didn't include in that first documentary, which is my friends, my family, my wife now, and now everything I have going on with my son. It's really to thank all of them. You know, that's why my friends had such a big part in it, writing sections and their thoughts around Flatland, as well as like my wife had a big section in the film, just because like, if it wouldn't be for her, you know, she kind of holds she's the one sending the invoices out, and she's out there filming clips for the past 20 years, you know, like really she's the one. If it wouldn't be for her, if it wouldn't be for my friends, you know, my family, I wouldn't be here. So that first documentary was like all about industry guys like Jeff Z and, you know, Matthias and all these people that spoke about me. And the new documentary, I felt like that story needed to be told, of like why I'm at today, like how I got here, which is all those people. So
cool.
Yeah. And I feel like this intro specifically, when I first turned it on and first started watching it, I kind of saw myself. I think a lot of people who have ridden BMX can see themselves in it, because they were cut from a different cloth, maybe the vast majority of people. But then like you said, you found that bike and kind of everything started clicking, or everything was kind of, you felt at home in a way. And when I watched that, I almost like, you know, I saw you, of course, but I also saw a little bit of like, oh, that was me. I don't have footage like that, but I remember being that kid, which is just really cool to see. And I hope that people watching it can resonate with that, you know, whether it's, well, BMXers will definitely resonate with it, but even the general public.
I think I said it in the podcast that dropped today, because we talked, because this is the news podcast came out, but the documentary was, I feel like when you watch certain like a Arnold thing or something, and it's co-written by Arnold, and you can kind of tell that it's like, you know, they have a little bit of bad, but he's projecting what he wants out in the world. And I know you were involved, but I felt like the sense of realism and the look behind the curtain of your documentary was like admirable, to be able to put yourself out there. And it was like real on a sense of what you guys, which we'll get into, what you guys have been going through with your kid, and the battles of life and career, and being at the top, and sometimes not being at the top anymore, and things like that. And it was genuinely great, you know.
Thank you.
I watched it with my wife, you know, and she doesn't give a fuck about BMX, and she was like, that was awesome, that was great. So it's more about, like you said, it's more about life than it is necessarily like pure
the riding. BMX. Like I didn't know till after the premiere. Like I had seen the film before the premiere, but a ton of riders came out from, you know, even all the way from Japan. They came to check it out, and I didn't know that until after the film was over. They're like, dude, there wasn't one combo that was pulled from beginning to end. It was just like clips, but I didn't even notice it, and they weren't bummed about it. But it's definitely not about the riding. It's more about like life, family, what BMX can do for you, what it did for me, how it can get you through hard times, and how it can like change your life. So
so that is available now on Amazon Prime, correct?
Yep.
And then
you can type in The Road Home and find it. You can type in my name and find it. And then you can also type in the word autism and find it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It felt really cool typing this in just on my TV. I guess it's fairly rare, you know, when a big video comes out or whatever, I'll watch it on the TV versus on the phone or whatever. But yeah, it just, I don't know, felt really cool renting this. Just thanks. Congrats on just being on this platform.
You can probably find yourself on there in the old props stuff, because they're on there.
Are they?
Oh, that's pretty cool to like when you type in BMX, all the props come up. Well, you know, most of them, like the best of props and stuff.
Yeah, nice.
They're like grandfathered in on there, I think, because now it's like harder to get on. Like we had to go through a world of mess to get on.
Yeah. But
that stuff that's grandfathered in, I think it's on forever.
Did you ever research choosing which platform you'd put it on?
The goal was to get on Amazon.
Yeah.
In the beginning. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, available. It was $2.99 to rent and then $10 to own. So it's definitely one of those things. Like, you know, if you're a fan of BMX, just in general, it is great. But if you're a fan of BMX, obviously it's a drop in the bucket. So, I think we can focus on that a whole bunch, but maybe we should start a little rewind, and then we'll get to kind of
whatever you want to do.
These things
I'm
here.
down.
Yeah.
Hammond, Indiana, or
Hammond, Indiana.
Hammond, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a
Captain
Hammond,
says that all
well.
the time.
Does he?
I feel like he does it to mess with me, though.
Yeah. Hammond, Louisiana.
Yeah.
So you were a kid with a dream, but did you, and you do cover it in the film, but it being a small town, do you feel like you kind of lucked out with where you grew up, or do you feel like sort of you made it? Did you luck into a scene, or did you help make the scene?
I feel like what I looked up on was like finding BMX.
Yeah.
Because like if I wouldn't have found it, I talk about it in the film a lot, is there's just no telling what I would have ended up doing, Again, in the film I talk a lot about being confused as a kid, like not knowing what's going on, like my mom bringing me to baseball practice and just like running around the bases backwards just because I could not get it, But when I found BMX, it was truly that moment when I was like, oh, there's no rules here involved. It's just like me and the bike. So I had started off racing BMX, and that obviously with racing BMX, there's like rules, So it wasn't until like I seen like people doing tricks at the track, or like her bringing me to those GT shows, which would have like Rob Nolly, Kevin Gutierrez, Volker, one Flatlander. That's when I really kind of switched to like, oh, okay, this is really no rules. Like this is really where I want to be. And from the GT shows is where that obsession came from, probably wanting to like get sponsored, wanting to be on GT really bad, just because like I didn't know that money came along with being a pro. I was a kid. I just knew that like being in the magazines came along with being a pro, or like maybe getting to like do shows and travel. So to say I focused on that and obsessed on that would probably be an understatement. I went through all the magazines as a kid and just like found the numbers to call. I started off calling the 1-800 numbers at like payphones at my spot, and that's how I would talk to Woody Itzen, and I would send him videos. And then finally, like Woody just had to tell me like, you're not ready, but keep in touch, keep sending videos, and you never know. But it was cool that like guys like him that were at the time probably in their 20s were like picking up the phone to talk to me. So
what a great response though, because there's people that they probably field calls like that quite a bit, or inquiries like that quite a bit. For them to say, to be honest with you and say, hey, you're not ready, but keep in touch, I think is just, a pat on their back for.
And I kept in touch. Because it's a 1-800 number. So like I was going to the payphone, it was free. So I would stop riding and just, hey Woody, it's me again. I got some new tricks.
Pull out the address book. Make the phone call.
And then I realized that the numbers to like ride was in there. So I would just call ride as a kid. And when I started going to contests, I would, if something was mentioned in the news, like maybe it would say I got third instead of second, I would call and say like, yeah, it's Terry. I'm just calling to say I got second, not third. And I would notice that like those phone calls would end up in the news.
Yeah.
And so to me, being in the news was like inching closer to like getting a photo.
Yeah.
So I probably had a stack of like 30 magazines of just like Terry called again, because I was calling to say like I learned a new trick. They're like, that's not worthy enough.
Yeah.
Did you this obsessiveness, was it outside of BMX as well? Do you eat the same sandwich every day or something like that? Like even as a kid, like
it started with BMX.
Okay.
Like the walls were covered with Flatland photos, just and it was hard to cover a whole wall, because some of the magazines would only have like maybe eight 8 images total. So I just obsessed over those photos and those guys, and my goal just became to like be as good as them and like maybe one day be in the magazines, you know, is what I wanted really bad. So the only way I knew how to do that from Louisiana was like persistence of like calling, you know. So when I did start going to contests and my parents were bringing me, I think in my mind it was like always easier for like Losi to like, when he's walking up and like wondering who to shoot, it's like, oh well, I think this is the kid calling all the time. Let's get a photo of Terry. And then as I was older, I kind of not took advantage of that, but I would notice like the photographers that walked up to the Flatland area, they were kind of like not confused on what to shoot, but just like, who do I shoot? What's going on? And I would always like go and shoot the photo. And that obsession from like being in the news then became like, I'm going to try to get as many photos as I can, you know?
And there's two sides to that too, because if being the photographer, somebody that makes it very easy on me and holds my hand at points and be like, hey, no, this is the point where you should shoot it, blah, 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 like, and makes the experience good, it makes you want to go back and do that again with that person as well. And where other people are standoffish and not right now, you're like, all right, well, I may not ask him again.
I kind of made it like a part of my like contest program of like, is at a very young age, if I seen like Losi or Z walk up, I would kind of like, you know, kind of trot over there and say, would you like to get a photo? And a lot of times maybe I wouldn't win the contest, but I would for sure end up getting an image, you know, of like Terry did good in the finals image, you know.
Can you rewind to when you started racing, and then, you know, I saw just in the little intro thing, like the bunny hop off of the deck and stuff like that. When did when did you start like falling in love with Flatland?
I always had an interest in it, but like it was just difficult to understand, you know. It was like, it was much easier just to like jump the box jump. It was much easier to just like ride off stuff, and you know, it was more digestible to me. So like, and I was a fan of all of BMX. So like I had chest protector, full face helmet, because McCoy, I was a huge fan of Dennis. His family is, his wife's family's from Hammond. So as a young kid, like, he would always come to him, and I was always buying like his old frames and stuff. And really like, it just became like a thing where these Flatlanders from New Orleans were like calling around different bike shops. It's talked about in the film, and they were trying to look for a rider. And when they got me on the phone, finally the bike shop was like, yeah, we got this kid Terry. They got me on the phone, and I just lied, you know. I was like, oh man, I can do all these tricks. I'm 12, so of course like I knew the names of tricks, but I didn't really like know how to do any of them. But when they came down, they were still stoked, you know. Like it was like a little kid trying tricks on a bike. So but that was the moment that it kind of switched for me, because there was just something about the setups of their bikes, and like that's the moment that I got that like, this is really infinite. Like this is really like art, you know. And
maybe like a friend group that just accepted you immediately, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I was hanging out at the skate park. I was, you know, my whole front yard was filled with ramps. My backyard was filled with like, you know, ghetto ramps. But there was just something that I connected with them about. They were all like completely different. There were 3 or 4 guys, and I just became like almost obsessed then with like trying to impress those guys, so they thought I was like a real rider. So the obsession kind of turned from like just BMX to like, man, I want to show these guys that like I can like really learn and really understand.
Live up to it. I guess.
I'm curious because you're helping my brain rewind now to when I was that little kid, and I would go to the park, and there'd be like Dave Frymouth and people like that there, and I was so intimidated, but I also, and I did want to ride hard in front of them and do like my best stuff in front of them. However, I sort of saved that motivation for when I was away from them, and then would like be like, oh my gosh, I got to learn all this stuff, like, so I can hang with these guys eventually someday. Were you like that? Were you kind of like were you performative in front of them, or were you like just motivated to like, okay, now these guys are sort of my friends, or I know I can talk with them. Now I'm going to go work my ass off like on my own time away from them so they can't see in this. So the next time they come around, I'm going to be badass or whatever. Like, was it?
It was a little bit of both. I would say it was like, it turned into like all day, every day. Yeah. You know, all day, every day Flatland. Like, you know, if all the images of like street riding and ramp riding got taken off the wall and it just became all Flatland, it's been the same ever since. You know, of course I stayed a fan of all aspects of BMX and still am. But things like really changed when they came, you know. And for whatever reason, I'm not sure why it stuck with me, but I did still have that obsession to be like a professional rider. Yep. And I'm not sure why that stayed such like a thing that I wanted, but I had this like hardcore aspect of like wanting to be like them, but then I also like admired Trevor Meyer and made sure I recorded every time that was on ESPN, because back then Flatland was getting so much TV time. It would sometimes it would get like 45 minutes, you know. I mean, they would show Trevor and Andrew Ferris and do a big story on them. I mean, they had helicopters flying around watching Trevor like walk away from the contest area, just telling these little inside stories about like Trevor and Andrew and Nate Hansen and all these guys. So I would record that stuff and just
like, this is who I want to be.
I just wanted it so bad. Yeah. You know,
was that like X Trials and B3 contests, like that era, early X Games?
Yep.
Extreme Games, I should say.
Yep. So like, of course I became a fan of like that contest series. So some of my first contests was like Wide World of Sports, Orlando, like 96. And then,
I can picture that when I was indoors, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, it had like a white floor.
Yep.
Miron did the 540 tail whip in there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Wild. So you competed as a pro at that one, or?
Oh no, I was 12.
Okay.
I was like 12, 13.
And then, I mean, how do things ramp up from there, or like, how do you? I don't know. You set this. It's funny because that's the theme in your life. You set a goal, and then somehow you end up seemingly achieving that goal.
After Woody told me, like, take a couple years off of like trying to get sponsored and just like work on your skills, I think you have a lot of potential. Like, that's what I did. Mm-hmm. But of course, like, I kept calling. You know, I kept calling Woody. I ended up calling Two Hip.
Anybody say, "Hey, stop calling me"?
Yeah.
Who did?
No, they didn't. I was wrong about that. Yeah. No, that's the thing. Everyone was like super nice, you know, like talking to a little. Maybe I was told like when I was calling Rod, like, this isn't newsworthy, but those.
I can't believe you could even talk to somebody. Who did you talk to at Ride?
Whoever would pick up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm the secretary. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, whoever would pick up. I mean, and it was always just like weird stuff that would get mentioned because they're like, Terry called again. You know, it would actually say like, Terry called again. And I would just get super hyped because I'm like, oh, this is inching my way closer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But, you know, eventually I called Two Hip and Kevin McAvoy picked up. And was kind of, I would say, like the first deal that like went through.
It's crazy that Kevin McAvoy works at Red Bull now too.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Like, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So Two Hip was kind of the first sponsor outside of the shop, and.
Yep, that was the first one, and they did like a signature frame, and
really,
you know, it was like a small run of them. And then after Two Hip, I was sending stuff to like Play and Useless with Lee and Hal, and so I wind up, you know, getting me some shirts, some apparel, and so I saved all that stuff too. I have like all the letters that I wrote to Lee and Hal, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. When I always see that in the background, I'm like, oh
man, that
would come in my gift bags.
That Play toboggan shirt or like toboggan sticker was like, somebody actually sent me that one, but that sticker, I coveted it so much I never used it. I was like, I could never find a spot important enough to put that sticker on it because I loved it so much.
Yeah, I used to run that shirt and that sticker. Yeah.
That's
amazing. My sponsor.
That is iconic. I haven't seen that in a long time. So from there, I guess, what age did you kind of blossom into yourself? Because it kind of sounds like you watched all the other pros and wanted to do what they do, but obviously in Flatland, and why you're successful too is like becoming you, right? Instead of kind of a carbon copy. Did someone kind of tip you off to that to begin with, like being your own style rider versus a carbon copy of someone else?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, the guys that I looked up to in New Orleans, is Eugene Collins and Mickey Gaidos, the guys that are in my film, like they had the style of like, they had the mindset of like, you have to do your own thing. You have to like learn tricks that were like, that aren't like other people's tricks. So I was trying to do that for myself, but also to impress them. So I was always trying to create something that had like never been done. So our crew was kind of known for that, I guess, of like showing up to a contest and like having something original, you know? And that's the goal of every crew, but we really tried to show up and like make a mark that way. So it helped out that was my crew, because it definitely I wouldn't have that same mindset that I have today if I would have just like been in some other random crew.
That support really comes across a lot in the crew, or sorry, in the film, because that crew, you can just tell the vibes are always good. You guys are like, not hard, you guys are supportive, but also kind of like, I'm sure, push each other, you know, hard on each other enough to progress, but not too much to where it gets out of hand or anything like that. You seem very friendly, but also supportive and motivating. So I think that would you say that that's accurate? That's like the vibe I got. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like the scenes of the early writing sessions and the current writing sessions, it's like out of a movie. You know, like it's like the Sandlot style where it's like the old footage, and it's like, ain't shit changed, you know, like you guys are still there, still having the same exact vibe, same message, and like it was very cool, just the full circle.
Thankfully, I kept all that stuff, you know, because it was a lot of tapes to go through, and like they were just sitting in the attic for so many years. I just didn't even know if they were going to work anymore, because Louisiana hot sun. Yeah, I was like, are these things going to be like just melted to shreds? But I sent them all off, and you know, it took a while to like dig through and figure out what we wanted to use. But I mean, to say we had a lot to choose from is like, I mean, we had so much footage of like early 90s.
Is that, so that was you recording, or
just, we always had a camera going, you know? So, and we were always like interviewing each other, like why, I don't know, but that's why there was so many clips that looked like I was getting interviewed, you know?
So, role playing.
Yeah. We were pretending to be pros, basically.
When did you officially like check that box of I'm now a professional bike rider?
The moment I really feel like it happened for me to where I was officially a pro was the contest in Japan that I talk about in the film. I went over there for a contest called the KOG. It's the King of Ground. It was 2002. So technically I probably entered a pro contest in like 2000 or 2001. But the King of Ground series, I went over there, and it was like at the time the biggest thing in Flatland, just because they were so huge. I remember like the pro class had like over 80 people. And it was like seeing all the bikes flipped upside down was like, oh wow, this is insane. But I went over there and ended up winning the event, and that's where I kind of look back and go, that's where it kind of changed for me, because after that, that's when Red Bull came along, X Games stuff, and
if my math is correct, that's 18. You're 18, right?
Yep.
Wow.
First time out of the country.
Yeah.
How was that? So Hammond, how big is Hammond?
I think like 22,000 people or something, and back then probably not that many.
Going out of the country, you know, that whole, you're 18, no parents, no.
Yeah. At that point, I had moved on from Two Hip, and I rode for Aries Bikes, which was in Japan. So I was going out there to like sit with the Aries guys, talk about like what my contract was going to look like, and then ride in the contest, and then ended up winning the event.
Yeah.
And on that same trip, we did a tour that went from like the south of Japan to the north. We just like hit every bike shop, and it was wild doing that because every shop was filled with like Flatland completes. Already in 2002, they had like Flatland schools already back then. So that's why now the Flatland schools are like perfected. They've been doing it so long. They know how to coach these kids, which is why like now they like streamline the way they coach them. And it's,
you got all these kios and
and even so like little bitty kids. So they've been teaching them for so long that they know how to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like they probably had 10 or more schools in 2002, and now the facilities they have are like actual facilities that train kids. Like some of them have like 150 students.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
I guess the pro stuff, or did you have?
Oh no.
The pro stuff kicks off. X Games. You did ride in X Games early 2000s.
2002 Philadelphia.
Philly.
Yeah.
And that was you. Did you win that one?
No. I actually got almost last, and that's when I was like, I think there was 18 of us. I think I got like 17th.
Oh.
So yeah, but I was young, you know, and I was like super nervous, and like I mentioned it in the movie, like I was just the lights, the cameras. I mean, I was, you know, I'm in the elevator with Nasty and his mom, and and the motocross.
He's got the mouth guard in. He's about to fight somebody.
Yeah. I'm like, man, this is it was too much for me to handle, you know.
But explain the vibe difference between that and the King of Ground contest, because I mean, I know because I've been to X Games, I've been in plenty, and I know that it's very much a production.
Where's
those days? But
this is
that's X Games qualifier.
Yeah.
So would you say that affected your performance versus like, because you won that King of Ground, or was it the competition was tougher, or like what were the differences there, or just a bad day at the X Games?
What happened was that happened in the X Games, and I just like completely like crapped the bed, and then I went to Japan after that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it kind of like motivated me. It sparked a flame to like, it's really when I started like the process of like repeating the contest runs and I've just never been able to get out of doing it. It's kind of hurt my progression big time, because with my personality, I never stop doing the repeat style of training. And so doing that, if you don't get out of doing it, it's tougher to like learn new tricks all the time. So the amount I would incorporate tricks definitely slowed down from that point, because I became, I really enjoyed the process of like showing up and being dialed, of doing this like 5 in a row style is what a couple of us did in those early 2000s, where like if you mess up on like 3, you start back over at 1 on that particular combo, to where you kind of build your way up to 4, and then that pressure is really high, and then you get your number 5, and then you move on to the next combo.
That was how you dialed stuff in.
Yeah. And then nowadays those numbers have been increased with like working with Marty and, you know.
How many hours a day are you riding in like in 2000? Like, is it 8 hours a day? Is it?
Oh, in like year 2000?
Yeah.
Oh, like it was 8. It was 8.
Yeah.
It was like
you had to
ride.
I mean, you rode every single day, all day.
Every day, all day in the parking lot. Yep.
And
those are parking lot days before like people had their spots in their backyard. Now, like most Flatlanders have their concrete pad 30 by 30. You know?
Yeah.
So many of us.
Is that just the amount of dedication to be good at Flatland from the freestyle side? It seems insane. You know, people ride all day, but it's like a casual thing. I feel like not that level.
Yeah, it becomes this thing where like when you get to a certain level, it does feel so good. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like when you have enough tricks to where you're able to like link stuff together, it does almost feel like you're flying. It is extremely addictive, and thankfully I got caught up in that addiction like early on, you know, to where it kept me out there all day, every day. You know, I would ride the 7-8 hours during the day, and then I would set up lights in my mom's driveway at night, and ride as much as I could at night. So Yeah, I mean, the more you rode, the better you got. So you stayed on it, you know.
And because I think of all the factors, like things that you could play head games with yourself with, like, oh, I ate something different for breakfast today and I'm not feeling as good or riding as good, you know, and you get these kind of superstitions. And then also weather's not the same every day in Louisiana. So kind of how, like, navigating those challenges or those differences without having to be like,
I didn't care about that at all.
Yeah, you were just hyper focused. You were like, no matter what happened, I'm out here, I'm doing it.
Riding all day, every day. Yeah.
Probably pounding a pack of Skittles or something like that. And you didn't care about it. Look at this guy in this.
Well, I could just see how it could like slip into obsessive.
Well, young you are. You didn't care about nothing. Pretty funny. So I guess you kind of answered it, like that obsession type thing. Was there anything as a kid that you were like, I know in the documentary you talk about school and obviously BMX became just the ultra focus. Like, was there room for anything else? Like, do your parents talk about it at any point? Like, yeah, we couldn't get you to fucking comb your hair.
I mean, now I notice it more as an adult that like the obsessiveness that I've had with Flatland has now that I'm an adult, I've done the same thing with like working out. I've done the same thing with the running, with the waking up early. You know, now that I've finally have some like other interest, I've kind of like taken those interests maybe a little too far to where like it hasn't been the healthiest, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just part of my personality of like all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're doing it, you're doing it 100%.
When, so X Games doesn't go well. You got the King of Ground in Japan, and then you get sponsored by Aries, and then Red Bull comes in shortly after King of Ground.
Yep.
And how many flat dudes did they have?
At the time, it was just Chad.
Okay.
Chad rode for Red Bull?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So, like, on Chad's way out, they kind of asked him, like, hey, who's, like, the up-and-comer guy? Who should we look at? And Chad kind of passed over my name. And around the time he passed over my name, I had won the King of Ground. So Red Bull was meeting with my friend Scott in New Orleans to talk about Voodoo Jam. And he's like, dude, come over here, meet him. And I was like, what do I bring? He's like, I don't know, bring anything. And I'm like, bring my bike? He's like, bring your bike, bring the video of you in Japan. So I brought the video of me in Japan when I met with them at his house. And as they were watching it, we were kind of showing them of like, this is what a Flatland event really looks like in Japan. They had just kind of like casually mentioned while they were sitting in his living room, like, who won this? And I was like, oh, I won. And they were like, oh. So that's kind of how the relationship first started. That's how it kind of clicked in his head, the athlete manager at the time, of like, oh, maybe we can start something with Terry. And soon after that, I was on.
Yeah.
And that was like 22 years ago.
22 years. So 2004-ish. And then, so you're at that point, I guess, especially when Red Bull comes on, you are paid athlete. You don't have to worry about side money or anything like that. Did you ever have a side job before that? Or was it kind of like...
At a bike shop.
Okay.
So I worked at a bike shop and that was it until I was like 16 or so, and then I had won my first contest in New York, and it was like $3,500 for first place, and I was like, oh, I don't think I need to work anymore. So that was the end of that.
Even at 16, that's sick. I mean, obviously you're at home, so you don't, if that money, especially 20 years ago, would carry you.
And then when Red Bull came along, it was kind of like easier to piggyback other companies to kind of piggyback off the Red Bull thing, because they knew that Red Bull was paying the flights to get me to the contest. They knew that Red Bull was paying me a good enough salary to live. So then it kind of made it easier for other companies to kind of sign on, you know.
So did you go buy like a Mercedes, or did you go, what was your purchase?
We're in BMX, you know.
What was your purchase? You bought something, you put some avocado on a sandwich or something like that, at least, right? You treated yourself a tiny bit.
I can't remember anything that I might have did. Actually, you know, the first check I got was $1,500, and at the time I thought the way my mind worked is I needed to use that 1,500 to use it for like travel or like something. And I thought in my mind I needed to report back to Red Bull to tell them what I spent it on. So I took the 1,500. I went to the Worlds in Portugal with Wilhelm. And actually, I think Biz was on the flight with us. Anyway, we went over there. And as soon as I got back, I called Red Bull. I'm like, hey, I just want to let you guys know that 1,500, I flew to Portugal, used it for my hotel, my flight. I'm on it. And they were like, oh, no, man, if you want to go to Portugal, just like let us know. Like that, I'll never forget. He was like, you can use that money for like a waterbed if you want. That money is like for you.
A waterbed.
I'll never forget. He's like, if you want to buy a waterbed with that. And I was like, that's when it clicked. I'm like, oh, this money is actually to like buy food and stuff. Like I was gonna like take it all and like use it for like
yeah.
But your heart's in the right place because you wanted to invest it back into yourself or into your career, into your into something.
Yeah,
so
my
like,
mindset was like that for so long that like I was just always in this mode of like updating sponsors to where I would send binders like that thick to where just tiny little news articles and just anything that I had, I would send it. So of course, when the money started rolling in, I'm like, I'm gonna let them know where every penny was spent.
Yeah, but that's
imagine the guy on the other end. He's got this little smirk. He's like, Bud, Terry.
Yeah.
He's like, go buy a waterbed.
That's exactly what he said. Yeah, I didn't buy a waterbed, but the next 1,500 that came in, I
have you ever owned a waterbed in your entire life?
When I was little, I had a waterbed.
Did you?
Yeah, bro. Louisiana.
There's a generation of people watching this that have no clue what a waterbed is.
Yeah, my parents had a waterbed when I was a kid. And I don't. It was amazing. I just didn't understand the concept then.
Yeah, you really fill that thing up and you float.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riding the waves.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Waterbed.
Water.
Garrett Reynolds signature Monticule jeans. Straight leg, a little bit of stretch, high quality cut and sew. Straight leg's not your thing. You want the big old wide boys. They got the Max Miller ones. Jeremy Malotte's got his signature pants. Dan Kruk's got his signature pants. Head over to monticule.co. Enter the code Unclicked for 10% off whichever pants you want. They got hats, they got shirts, full lineup of gear. But it's not just a code thing. Kicking off Monticule Clip of the Month. Head over to Instagram, post your best stuff. Hit it with the old hashtag Monticule COTM. Clip of the Month. Then you go to the URL. You submit it to Monticule. It's just the URL. It's not like you got to upload a video or anything. Name, email. Should only take you like 30 seconds. And at the end of the month, we're going to watch 3 clips. Choose a winner. That person gets a $100 voucher from Monticule. You're going to get a package from me. I got some Monticule gear. I'll kick in some ourbmx stuff, whatever random bits and bobs we have. And everybody's happy. Shout out to Monticule for sponsoring the podcast, for all they do, supporting all those bike riders, making cool stuff. This is how we keep BMX doing well, support brands that support BMX. That's it. Thank you. Back to the podcast. I love that. That is like the perfect like little kid type thing, brand new sponsorship mentality.
That was it.
Yeah. Red Bull. Oh, good.
I was going to say it's great that you reported back, though. I think that's a good habit, and we've just touched on that a little bit before and on this podcast. But like letting your sponsors know what you're up to is a very responsible thing to do, and a very, I'm sure they appreciated it. They appreciate the extra work. Then they don't have to chase it down and look. And you're obviously kind of like self-promoting, but also you're just showing them that like, hey, this is how dedicated I am to my craft and representing you and everything else. There was an article in Dig where they interviewed Pova, and it was all about like being sponsored. And I think he mentioned you and I as far as they're like, oh, what are the most professional or easiest riders to work with that are
I was so stoked on that article. Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah. And I just thought that was, and I didn't know you super well at the time. So I was like, oh, well, that's awesome that Terry's like, kind of
He's on my level.
Well, no, that he thinks that way, you know.
Can you expand on it a little bit? Like, what did Pova say was the easiest?
He was just saying like that Terry and I were the prime examples of professionalism as far as being a sponsored athlete go. You know, like maybe we honored our word. We didn't miss flights. We didn't miss events. We didn't whatever. We said we were going to do something and we did it, or said we were going to produce something and we did, or at least tried like hell to do it, and just stayed in constant communication, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it really, for me, it came from like just being so grateful that it actually happened, that like someone was actually standing behind this like dream that I had, to where it's like it's in motion, like to where it's still in me. Like if I get like a text from Matt Copeland and he needs something for some reason, like my heart starts beating fast, because like I feel like I got to get him whatever he wants immediately. And that's how I've like always been, you know, with the sponsors, of like I treat it like a job.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why like the self-promotion thing for me was like so important, because I knew with Flatland just being like such a subculture of BMX, like I felt like I had to ask for those covers in the beginning. Like I felt like it just wasn't going to happen. I knew that the way I got in the news was from asking. I knew walking up to Losi and them of getting the images in the magazines was from asking. So when it did come time for me to like check that goal off to like get the cover of Ride, like I called Ride, you know, and I asked Jeff and I said,
like, hey, what do I need to do?
Is it possible? I have this new trick. Is it possible for me to get it on the cover? And his response was like, that's not how it works. You know?
Yeah.
I could never guarantee you a cover, but he was very nice about it and said, if you come out here and you shoot the trick, you never know where it could end up. So for me, that was enough, like to green light, like getting on a flight to come out here to shoot it. Well,
I'll never forget, DeGroot gave me this advice, and maybe he gave you the same advice, although it sounds like you already had this advice and didn't need to hear it from Chad. But when you used to send the emails, when Fudger would send the emails for news for Ride, DeGroot told me something. He's like, always respond. He's like, even if you don't have anything significant, like always respond with something, like whether it's funny or whatever. It might not even end up in the magazine, but like those guys read maybe boring stuff all day, or like stuff that's very mundane and redundant. So send them something funny or whatever. And then sure enough, your name ends up in the news more and more and more, just because you responded to an email. And I was like, oh, I never really thought about that. I thought I only responded if like I really had something big. And even if, I don't know, I was raised with modesty, like where I wouldn't, even if I did have something big, I probably wouldn't be the one to say it myself and bring it up in the news or email the magazine about it. So it's good. Did Chad, I know he kind of tipped you off to the Red Bull thing, but did he also kind of give you some other advice?
He kind of did. Yeah, he kind of did. I got advice from a bunch of people back then. Like when I first got on Red Bull, I was like really nervous on like how to handle the situation. Cause again, I felt like I made it, you know, like how am I going to deal with this? So I reached out to someone in hopes to get Mira on the phone to see if he would give me some advice. And I didn't know Mira, but I waited by my phone because I heard like he was going to call. I'm like, he's going to tell me how to deal with this. You know, in my mind, I was just thinking like finances, or like, how do I manage this? How do I like say I want more money if I do, or like, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know, I just didn't know. I was a kid. And he called and said, like, I actually just read your interview in Ride, and I think you just need to keep being yourself. I read in your interview that like you're like advocating for Flatland more in the media. Lean into that. And he's like, you seem like so passionate about like making sure Flatland's in the spotlight. Just keep doing that and keep like going about it the way you're going about it, and things will eventually just fall into place. So I kind of like took that, I did take that advice to heart, and just kind of I guess I never felt bad about like pushing for myself or for Flatland to be in like the spotlight.
Mm-hmm. So when Mira called you, what year is this?
This was like 2003. 3, right?
So before the cover, so you had an interview in the magazine, and you connect dots to get to Mira, and Mira actually cold calls you, picks up the phone, dials your number.
Yeah, my heart was beating, bro. I was like,
sick, man.
This is crazy. Yeah, no, he gave me that advice.
Did he actually did you ask the financial questions too? Like, how do I ask for more, and how do I did you have questions written down?
I did. I had questions written down, and he kind of told me what I needed to know without me asking it. You know, he kind of said, like, don't worry too much about the money. Just keep doing what you're doing, and all that stuff will fall into place, because they're going to see that, you know, you mean well, and what you're trying to do, it's really coming across in the interview that I just read. Mm-hmm. And so from that point on, I just didn't feel bad about asking. So that's why it led to me then asking for that cover.
Yeah.
And then getting it. I just kind of took that same strategy and like asked for a plus cover and asked for a cream cover, and it kept working, you know?
Yeah. So the ride cover, hopefully we'll find a better image of this, but did you have an interview in it, or did you have anything tied in with this issue? I can't remember.
I won the Nora Cup.
The Nora Cup. Okay. All right.
So like I didn't, obviously when I hit up Jeff, like I didn't know I was going to win. Yeah. So I think it just kind of worked out that I shot the photo and then the votes came in, and
because that's always that was always the main, you know, image being first, and then the second would be the tie-in with the magazine, because the cover being attached to a feature in the magazine was always important.
I just got to add, because I didn't realize this, but how amazing that there's a huge McCoy article in that same one. That was
I was stoked that he called me too after it.
That is so cool. Talk about like tying it into him being in Hammond when you were a kid and being one of the riders you looked up to. That's
the craziest thing is, like, I was on Red Bull and I had a Red Bull hat that day, and I was trying to manifest that this trick was going to get on the cover. So when Jeff gets out of his car, he's like getting his camera out, and he's in his old car, and he's got his button-up shirt, and I'm just like I'm actually saying it out loud, like, Jeff, we're going to shoot the cover, you know? And he's like, I don't know, we'll see. And I was just so, like, not, like, in a mindset of, like, trying to, like, promote sponsors. I took off the hat, and I threw it on the ground, like, and just wasn't wearing the Red Bull hat for the photo, but it was, like, right off to the side. I just, like... I wasn't in the mind frame. It was before Red Bull had this like thing where all the athletes wore the hats. It was just something that I was wearing that day because I was sponsored by Red Bull. I remember taking it off and like throwing it on the ground, and always regretted it.
I wonder, but it makes it, I don't know, it makes it cooler.
But then I overcorrected, because then for the plus cover, I'm like, this is not happening again. So I had on a Red Bull jersey and a Red Bull hat.
Then you were overbranded.
Yeah.
NASCAR style.
I was like, I gotta make up for it.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's a beautiful cover though.
It is.
He shot it, and did you pull it right away? Or was it one of those things that wild?
Katrina,
probably,
right?
Yeah. It was probably like 5 tries or something. It was right when I had learned it. So, and I still do it today in every contest. Like, it's still like, I'll probably never, it's going on this long. I'm not going to stop doing it now, you know?
Have you seen other people do it?
No. So, and that's also motivating me to like keep doing it.
Yeah.
So I've definitely seen some people try it.
Yeah.
You know?
In the flat world, I feel like it is such a unique style, and it's almost like if somebody did that in a competition, that people wouldn't really care for it.
Yeah.
Simple answer was yes.
I would like to think by now that like no one's probably going to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I would like to think that.
But if they did, so let's hypothetical.
So you don't want anybody to do it then, it sounds like.
I was actually at a contest one time in like 2010, and there was a dude trying it in his run. So, and I was cheering him on, you know, like let's see how close you can get, you know. But
it would be cool though if it turned into like a staple thing that maybe people did that was paid homage to you at a point. If it lives on past, that's pretty sick. At this point,
if I seen someone do it, I would be psyched.
Okay,
you know, I mean, we're going on 05, you know, because I learned it during Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I seen someone do it, I would have to rewind that.
Yeah. Open me up to the cultural aspect of Flatland a little bit, because I'm kind of drawing it to like, well, street riding, for example. So in around 2008, 2009 or so, I started nollying to grind a lot and was just doing it a lot. Nollie hanger and nollie gap to rail and blah, blah, all this stuff. So, but no one else was really, at the time anyways, I kind of got inspired by people like Lucky and Butcher and those guys. But then at the time, not many other people were sort of doing it or following in those, like following that at all. So it took many, many years before I remember watching a video like 5 years later and seeing Garrett nollie onto a big rail and thinking like, oh, okay, so it's not whack. You know, like I was wondering if I was doing something, you know what I mean? Like I was doing something, was it because people just thought it was stupid and they didn't copy it, or did they not copy it because it was scary, or what, you know, what was it? I was a little self-conscious. In the Flatland world, however, you want to almost make it a point to not copy. Am I correct? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you want to so much be yourself. And I'm even speaking in like contest terms. You wouldn't do no one else's tricks,
like like original tricks. No, right? You know, like that's kind of like when you look at like the expert class and the pro class, that's kind of the standout.
Oh, okay.
You know,
the main difference.
Like Matthias is going to have like his tricks. Uchi's going to have his, the U categories, he's going to have his stuff. You know, everyone's going to really kind of stand out.
And so the judges really need to know their historical facts.
Yeah. And
more so than maybe any other discipline.
Yeah, I think sometimes where it gets difficult is the judges know the riding so well, you kind of get judged against yourself. You know, like, like in any other contest, like maybe my run would have placed very well, but they're like, well, we know Terry can do that and flip to crossfoot, but he's flipping a regular foot. But we know he's got a little bit more in him. Same thing with Matthias. Like, he never falls, but if he touches, they're going to like really judge down. They're going to really judge that down. But you can win an event and touch a couple times. So like they shouldn't judge Matthias on Matthias.
Right.
Just because he had one touch, it still was maybe a winning run, you know? So I think that's the thing that happens in Flatland, you know, sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that could happen in any, you know, hopefully it doesn't, but it could happen in any discipline. But I'm wondering if someone doesn't have the roots in Flatland, like it almost seems like their knowledge and roots has to go back decades and decades.
It doesn't even
no pun intended.
Roots. You have to be wake up thinking about Flatland to be a judge. Like it seems so difficult.
The judges are definitely like the UCI judges. I mean, they're qualified. You know, they know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
You know, they know if it's something that looks like it's new that I'm doing, but they know like, oh, Terry did that 15 years ago. He's slipping it in there.
So do you have to kind of hide or keep on the low what you're working on and then unleash it at a contest, because you don't want to put stuff out on social media and them say like, oh, we're already numb to that. We saw it on social media.
I mean, obviously that would be the goal.
Yeah.
You know, like that would be the goal. But nowadays it's so tough to like not be trigger happy with Instagram. You know, before Instagram, of course, like to show up and like and drop some hammer that no one has seen is I feel like it doesn't happen as much.
Yeah, I've heard of some of those Flatland contests where there's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but $100,000 for first or something like that.
There's one's like 150.
Yeah, Switzerland or somewhere, or Monaco, or I don't
Japan's done 150 a couple times.
Wow, the Chimera.
Yeah.
So
$150,000.
Do guys go dark before those contests for a while on social media and everything, and they like disappear almost?
The Japanese do. Yeah. You know, they're very smart with it.
Yeah.
You know, like one year when I went where Uchi won, it was $100,000 for first, 50 for second.
I was going to say you get a firm handshake for second.
Yeah.
It was 50 for second.
Sorry about that.
25 for third, and then everyone else below got $300.
Wow. There you go. That's the firm hand. I would just just keep the 300. It's not going to make me feel any better.
The one I judged that Lupos won, it was we judged, it was like $100,000 for first, 20 for second, and then went down to that. So it was like an $80,000 difference, I think.
Yeah. The Japanese where I was
really like, we better get this right.
Of like winner take all.
Yeah.
Which is, it's cool that like a lot of the kids over there now that are doing really well, like they don't necessarily need sponsors. If you're consistently in the top 10, top 5, like, I mean, these kids are buying cars, you know?
Yeah. Nice. That's rad though. And it shows that them fostering that scene with like getting the schools going and like all that stuff, getting kids in it young, you know, it just all snowballs.
They earn that scene. You know, even like all the years where like the older Japanese riders would come to Voodoo Jam, they would always like bring the younger kids with them and like that was like their sensei. So I found out later that like that was like a coaching deal.
Yeah,
like
this is my young savage. He's going to kill you in 10 years.
That was like when they would bring the kids to my house, I got to like, because the Japanese would stay at my house and they would bring like, they were bringing Yu Kategori when he was like a tiny little kid. So I got to see like how they were training them. And he would just be like, you're going to practice pumping this trick, just pumping it for 4 hours. And then after that's over, 4 hours, new trick.
The you know? In specific, I feel like I've looked at him at some point and it's like a reincarnation. I had like a vision of him from like the 1400s or something. He's just like, he's just such a fucking like cold face killer in a certain sense. Like doesn't show emotion.
There's no facial expression. Yeah, I mean they're there to get it done.
Like he won X Games or something, and he was like there was a slight twitch in his face. He was like, "Oh yes, I'm elated right now."
Yeah,
it was
like it's crazy because looking at a lot of the Flatland, the Japanese guys, I know you're probably looking at it, or both of you guys, and going like, "What is going on here?" I'm feeling the same way.
Well, I try and explain it to them.
Yeah, if like even Dub, if you look at Dub's riding, if you were to hand me his bike and say like, what did he just do? It's it's really hard for me to pick up his bike, and I ride Flatland to go, this is what he just did. He went, I don't know what he did. It's happening too fast. It's too intricate. That's
what I try and explain to people. I'm like, they don't necessarily have names for most of the stuff that is happening anymore.
Yeah, especially like Dub's riding. It's happening so fast.
It's a sequence.
It's hard to follow.
Yeah.
You know?
It is, I kind of want to talk about like the Flatland industry as a whole, even just because, with lack of, probably could find a better word, but it's like, it is like the stepchild in a certain sense of BMX, because it does have its own ecosystem. It has its own media. It has its own, brands, all this stuff.
Contest series,
it just doesn't seem to get the shine that it should in traditional media. And, this is the arrow on me or whatever,
actually I'll stop you there, not to cut you off. I gotta say that like you've done a great job of like always including Flatland. Like dude, you mentioned the jams, you mentioned the contest series, you mentioned the edits, and like we're out here and we're listening and we're like really stoked. So I speak on behalf of like all of Flatland that like thank you for like always including us, because we feel like we are included, quite a bit.
That's good. Yeah,
man, when you're talking about like James White's edit, I mean, we're at home going like, oh yeah, we're up in there. We're on the pod, bro. Like it's like a win for all of us. So thanks for always including it, because we're out there listening. Like
I try. It's always just a fear of sounding dumb at points too.
But like because like I said, like I don't necessarily I'm telling you, I don't know what Dub's doing. I definitely don't know what Yu Kategori's doing. Like this stuff is just hard to digest. So it was cool to like hear you talk about James White and how it was digestible to you, because that's also why a lot of Flatlanders resonate with it, with James's riding, because it is like you can kind of look at it and go, okay, I see what's going on here. Maybe I can get this down. Maybe I can get out there and try this.
Yeah. I wonder about, because I think about his riding and how he almost uses the surface or uses the spot a little bit, like when he was on he's on the slippery marble sometimes, or like wet ground. And when you were talking about building your own pad, I started to think what are your ideal conditions, and do you, when you make something like that, do you make it with in mind of this is the ideal ground that I want to ride on, so I'm going to make my own pad how I want it, or do I make it how it's going to be in a contest scenario, or more other places around the world, or other places I might encounter when I'm doing my thing?
I think most people, if they had the option, they would probably do the wood floor, because when that wood floor is laid right, it's seamless, because it's the tongue and groove particle board.
It's OSB, right?
And then they do 2 layers
so it's firm.
So it's super firm, and it's just seamless. You're never going to get a spot that feels different. So I think most riders would maybe choose that, but it's just impossible with the weather unless you have an indoor spot, unless you want to replace wood every couple of years. So like a person like Alex Jumlin, that facility is for his students. He has a Flatland school, so he's able to, like, the government of that town in the south of France replaces that wood when he needs it. But for like the average person, it's cheaper to just lay some concrete.
This place?
Yeah. I mean, like
OSB's in fashion now too.
Like I'll go in there and like sometimes the wood will be loose, like, but it's still flatter than any. Like sometimes the wood will be moving around a little bit, but it's still gonna be like he doesn't care. It's perfect.
I just feel like I've looked away 6 times and he's still going.
Yeah, I always repost this. Like every time I probably repost, like I'll actually screen record it and like make an actual post and go like, this is tight.
I'm sure I've seen this before, but fucking hell.
He's an anomaly. What's his program? Like as far as how fit and dialed and good he is, I just like he doesn't age.
Yeah. First off, like he's a huge inspiration for me, because when I was 12 at that contest in Orlando, he was like 17 or 18 and he's still going. So the one big reason why the thought of like stopping doesn't come up is because he's
right there
on it. Like he is on it. And I would say like his program is just like ride every chance that he gets, because he does have 3 kids. He does have a wife. He does have this Flatland school. He is doing shows, but every moment that he gets a chance to like go to that spot to ride, he's in there. Yeah. He's in there by himself. It's the moment the students leave. So it's like all day Flatland for him, because the teaching the kids is like a job. So the moment that last student leaves, he locks the doors, puts on his French wrap, and he's going to make sure he gets in a session every single time. And that even goes like with vacations with his wife and his family. Like the bike always goes with them.
I was blown away. I stayed at his house in Louisiana when he was living there, and it was so hot and humid that day, like miserable.
Didn't know that happened. Go ahead.
It was so hot and miserable that day, and it was Corey Martinez and Nathan Williams. It was us 3. I think maybe Matthias was there too. But either way, me and Corey and Nathan are pretty motivated. Like we'll ride in whatever weather, but it was hot and sticky. We were like, we're gonna wait this out and like maybe not ride till this evening. Alex was like under his canopy, this local park or wherever he rode, like under
at the
roof.
golf spot.
Yeah, it was so hot and miserable. He was just out there all like for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, he's always been like that. Like me and Vanessa went and stayed with him and his family like in 2008, and he had stuff to do all day every day, but it would be like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he'd be like, "You coming?" I'm like, "Where?" And he's like, "We go ride." I'm like, "Dude, I'm about to go to sleep." He's like, and so I remember asking Elodie, his wife, I'm like, is he really going? She's like, "Yeah, of course. He's a pro rider," and that's kind of like his, like if you talk to him about like the idea of stopping riding, like we got into the talk about like Flatland being in the Olympics. Like if it gets into the next one, I'm like, "Dude, are you thinking about maybe like coaching that or something?" And he was like, "Coach?" I'm like, "Yeah, like the one later on." And he's like, "No, I'm contest rider." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
That's sick. So He's definitely like my biggest inspiration to like keep going, staying in shape. Him and Matthias both, you know, because Matthias for many years I was seeing like running and working out, and I was seeing Alex always doing like ab workouts, and you know, it was before I entered that journey, and I was always thinking like, what are they doing? You know, this is crazy. But now that I've, you know, felt the benefits of like that stuff and how it's really keeping me like faster and quicker on the bike, of course, like I have those dudes to like really thank for that.
So we went on a tangent, but the industry as a whole, and when you came in, obviously, you know, there's those X Games events and all this stuff, but then it Flatland kind of, you know, as I feel like Matthias tried to bring it back together for a little while, but Flatland is bigger overseas. A lot of industry is over there. Like, how did that, you know, shape those like 2010s and stuff for you, where you're at the, you know, arguably like the peak in a certain sense? But
I think for me, I was always like doing what I could to like keep Flatland in the forefront. So I was always trying to come up with ideas, and that's how the Aaron and Terry series kind of started, is because at that particular time, like I was at a phase in my career where I was just like, I wanted everyone to know how cool it was. And it was almost like I want to call it like a dying wish of like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to like get it in front of people. So my first thought was,
this is it, right?
Yeah, that was up the first one. My first thought was like, let me find someone that would do this with me. So I went down like a pretty big list of like street riders, even park riders that
let me see if I can
at first better one that I thought would maybe be a good option to use. And I actually did get turned down just because it didn't fit their brand, and I get it. You know, you almost needed that special person that was wanting to do something like this, to like ride street beside a Flatland guy. And when I got on Odyssey, I went to the Nor Cup where Aaron won, and when I guess he won, and like everyone was like ripping his shirt off on stage, his video was playing, and I was like, remember hearing his brakes squeaking, and like it was at a time where like it was so trendy to like not have a brake, and then his bike was so colorful. I remember thinking in that moment, I'm like, this is the guy that I need to like ask, because he's not following trends. Like, he doesn't care that his brakes squealing, is sketchy everywhere. He's like, they voted for him. He's really doing his own thing. So I approached him like the week after that and was like, dude, I really have this idea. And I'm very proud of the series, because like still to this day, we still get hit up like every other day by kids saying like, that series is why I started riding. And it's still like this thing where like, I mean, maybe like 10 messages a week still, where they're like, I started riding because of this series, because it did bring back that like fun aspect to BMX. It had a storyline. It was like, it kind of bridged the gap a little bit. It was like, there wasn't a lot where like two disciplines were mixed, you know? And he was out there, you know, like he literally didn't care. So
it's brilliant, because it showcases how talented both of you are, and just showcases the different ways you can ride a bike, you know, like in a good, fun, playful way. You know?
Yeah, the levity of it too, of like not being it too serious, and just a good combination. It was Francis that made this.
Yeah, all three of them. Yeah, and you know, our third one was released with you guys only.
With us. Yeah,
the hot tub time machine.
Yeah. So,
but I would say the second one. This is the first one. The second one is probably where we tried to be a little, I guess, more like hardcore with like what we were doing, because we're like, oh, we're bringing this back to the table. Let's try to do some stuff we're really proud of.
As with most things, you're like, all right, now we have to do better, and then we have to do better, and then
and I would like to think that he's pretty stoked on some of the stuff he did in the second one. You know, I think the first one was like, let's try this out, let's see how it works, and then when it started getting re-uploaded to YouTube with like millions of views for each one, we're like, oh, we got to come back for part 2, you know.
And then so that was this one, right? The sequel,
yeah.
Yeah, you're like on the foot. I forgot you're like riding Flatland in all of the scenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to Francis, because he's
a genius.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, he's so talented. Did our website.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Nice.
I lived with Francis for a few years in Long Beach and stuff, so it was always
he says some wild stuff. He's the coolest.
Oh, yeah, he's hilarious.
I would say, it was Brock.
Baby Brock.
Oh, wow, look at that.
It was, I would say, probably the best career move that I had as in my entire career was like doing this.
That's cool. That's
because
cool.
I really felt like it bridged the gap for me to where like more of BMX knew who I was because of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, in a sense too, it's like that's the path that DeGroot took in a lot of ways as well. Mm-hmm. It was kind of showing like, hey, I'm a BMXer also. Like I'm down for the silly parts and the randomness of it as well as this shit that I take seriously.
Mm-hmm. You at least got to wait till Aaron's 180 over the fence.
I mean, this is entertaining me. So
I forget that you're hearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the house you went to, Brian.
Yep.
Yeah, like I didn't think it could get more ridiculous than this one until we did the third one.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Francis like had a whole AI thing going.
What's up, Aaron?
Yo, what's up, dude?
Riding in my backyard.
I'm just getting done with paper route. Yeah, I'll be over in a sec.
Oh, yeah.
Paper route.
Me and Francis's little ramp.
I like how he said he's like just getting
Is
down.
this one where you kick him off the rail?
This was this episode.
Yeah. Where you, I mean, that is fucking sick.
Pretty bummed on the frame landing, though, if I'm honest.
It's all right. You were doing it out of a fucking rocket.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I was really stoked that he agreed to do it because he was like the perfect dude for the job, and I'm glad that those other guys turned me down because it didn't fit. You know, I was just at the time, who's gonna do this with me? You know, it was just this idea to like get Flatland in front of more eyeballs and like using like, you know, street riding to do that. You know, and then it became something bigger of like, man. People can actually see how fun BMX is because it did have that fun aspect that hadn't been shown in a while.
Yeah. Aaron's perfect for it because he is not serious ever. Mm-hmm. You know, like he was always projected this fun, this constant stream of childness in a certain sense that like that just made BMX people resonate with him and so much. So
still out there selling grips and frames and tires.
That's amazing.
So he barred over you the first one, so you guys decided to do it reverse.
This all looks like Baton Rouge, huh?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You've hit all these spots, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the clip.
We got that on ridiculousness. That one right there.
So
was that the plan? He was just like, "Yeah, kick me, and something will happen."
No,
because okay.
No, I was just.
Yeah, it just happened.
You were just being a dick.
Something.
Yeah.
What? So did you? It really was just out of nowhere?
I think it was. Yeah, I don't think I like went and did it like multiple times. I think maybe he said try to do it.
Oh. You guys are still friends?
Oh yeah.
The ladies in the background too look like plants as well. Like everybody's like.
It was cool though because like that series too, like I didn't know Aaron much when it started, but then like doing 3 videos together, like, you know, become one of my best friends, like spending that much time together. So it created a cool series and then like a lifelong friendship, you know?
Yeah. I was like, whoa, what does that sound? Sorry, this is the third one. The third one auto played for us. Thank you, algorithm.
Yeah, BMX will do that because you naturally go through the funnest of the times and sometimes the worst of times in a short, you know, also usually in one trip sometimes. So
oh yes, we were old men in this one. Yeah, we're talking about doing part 4. We're kind of in the conversation about it. we're in our Francis group text trying to figure it out.
Nice.
This is obviously
reminiscent on our old on our old times.
I was going to make a beard dye joke.
Yeah.
So obviously you gave up on the beard dye at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. That's probably how it would look if I didn't do it. Yeah, I think the problem with this one is we got carried away with the acting.
Yeah.
We probably thought we were better than what we were. It was funny to like...
It's something I would actually wear.
We did this in Atlanta, and it was funny, like when we landed, I'm like, dude, you got your stuff? You know, you got your...
Yeah.
You got your eyebrows, your clothing, everything.
He's like, no.
It's like, yeah, I'm dialed in. I think we got Nigel in here.
Did you?
I think we start talking about Nigel or something at some point. That was seriously the thought, is like, Nigel's gonna see this and he's gonna say something. Yeah. That was my thought. Actually,
Amazing.
this rail one at the end, I actually did get hurt.
Yeah,
I actually did get hurt.
Yeah,
because I forgot exactly what happened, but like he tried to kick me or something, and my peg got caught up on the bottom of the rail.
Yeah, it's like a revenge one, right? Yeah. So this is in Austin?
Atlanta. Oh,
Atlanta. Oh, yeah, duh. As soon as I know that spot, I would have waited for 4 seconds to say that. Within the flat community, was any of this received well? Like they saw the vision, or are they like, oh, Terry's branching out type thing?
I think it was received well, but I just think beyond that, like the amount of uploads it had from like other kids, they would like put it on their YouTubes, and like some of them would have like 5-10 million views. Like when I did the impressions to like, because Red Bull helped out with this one, when I did the impressions from the other 2, it was like 50 million or something.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy, just the amount of people that were just re-uploading it because they knew that it would, you know, do good on their channel. I think a lot of it got taken down, but
I think before they cracked down on that stuff.
I remember one was like 22 million views or something. Yeah. So it was like a no-brainer for Red Bull to go, yeah, let's go to Atlanta and do another one.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Flatland community enjoyed it, but of course, you know, I think the bigger vision was to, you know.
Oh, and that's the one you said you actually got hurt on?
Yeah. I think because it was cold.
Yeah.
You know, this is my banger coming up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
We just rode around searching for an ender for like for a day.
Too good.
Cool. Thanks for showing.
Yeah. No, I kind of forgot about I forgot about him at a point. You know, like you always remember the kick just because it was too funny, but like the overall sequence of all of them coming together. Like, and that was early ourbmx days. Like we didn't have, you know, this is 7 years ago. That was when we started.
We'll have to do another exclusive.
Yeah. Help me all come out. I guess Red Bull stuff, I always heard a thing that Red Bull, there's 2 parts of it. I'll start with the slow one, is that Red Bull sent you around to college campuses as like man on the ground type marketing thing. I've always heard all these, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but like the early days of Red Bulls, I know they don't do this anymore, but they would like, be like a popular kid on campus, and then they would be like, oh, you hook him up or her, and then she would just go around, Brian, you look pretty tired, you know, like I have Red Bulls when I'm tired, and they're great. and then that would be like the sponsorship type thing, you know, like early guerrilla style stuff that I don't think is necessarily like anymore. But I always, the second of that was that they would just put you on a college campus, you spin around, hand out some Red Bulls, and then
I wouldn't hand out any Red Bulls.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so it was that like guerrilla style marketing when it actually was pretty effective if there was good weather, if I could find like a really good spot on that campus. But I would probably do 3 campuses a day, and sometimes those tours would be like a 30-day college tour to where I would just go from state to state to state because
wow.
And the only reason we were doing it so much is because it was pretty effective.
Yeah.
So like if it's good weather and students are out hanging out, this is like pre-Instagram, they would just kind of hang out and watch. You know, if they were out in the grass, I would bring like a boom box and just ride, and students would walk up and just say like, man, is there a show happening or something? And I would be like, yep, right here. And they're like, when's it start? I'm like, you're in the middle of it. Yeah. You know, so it was cool because it did work. You know, sometimes if I would get there and the weather wouldn't be good, I would just know right when I would land at the airport, like, yeah, this might not work. Or if I'm going to a school where like finals are happening, or if I couldn't find the perfect spot, you almost needed like the perfect day to happen to where the students would like care. Yeah. And then
you need a place to ride next to where they're all congregated naturally.
Yeah.
And all that
you
stuff.
know, like they'll be like, I don't think we're going to get a boombox today. And I'd be like, no, we got it. We need a boombox, you know, we need to like create. And so then I realized like more students would stop and watch if I had like a camera crew. So then I would have like the film department, I would have Red Bull reach out to the film department. They would tell the students that I was going to be there riding. And then more students would stop because it would look like something's going on, you know, like,
oh, that's really cool.
So,
and the students, the film students, they were probably super stoked because that's something totally different than they thought they were going to be filming that week or whatever, right?
Yeah. So, and then, you know, I ended up getting a ton of edits out of it, you know, like to where like, you know, there was some times on Transworld where I would have like a college edit all to where it got a bit like, okay, we get it. You're going on campus. Yeah. So I kind of dialed it back, you know, and just would
do the work.
Yeah, just do the work or like pick a good one that came out. But yeah, if you go on YouTube and type in like Terry Adams College Campus, I mean, it's probably endless on YouTube and Vimeo of just me parading around and doing these things.
So when you were doing them, would it be like this is for Red Bull? So did you have like, generally you didn't have this rig and all this stuff, right? Like this thing wouldn't be
like. Typically they would like drop me off. Maybe we would get a shot of me getting out of it, and then I would just kind of ride around, you know, get some clips, you know, kind of go from spot to spot, hit like the landmarks. The Wings team girls would hand out some Red Bull, and then we would kind of skip around to the next.
Okay, so you always had the entourage of the wing, like the people handing out Red Bull.
They would kind of show up after I was kind of done. Okay. Where like the students could kind of put the 2 and 2 together, like, hey, there was just a guy here, you know, wearing a Red Bull hat. And they're like, oh, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But the way it would kind of work is I would meet up with their campus media, and the campus media would kind of do a mention that I was on campus, and I would kind of help campus media pick the image that maybe you could see my hat, you know, or make sure that when I talk to campus media, just kind of let them know like who I was and who I rode for. And so that's kind of how it kind of made it worth it.
Is this totally guerrilla style, or did you get permission from the college beforehand?
It was totally guerrilla style.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. Like, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would even, you know, we started off doing this, and then we kind of upgraded and would like go into classrooms unannounced. Where there's some videos where like they're in those big auditoriums where everyone's being quiet, and I would just come in and like start spinning, do like 2 tricks, and then exit.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then we upgraded from that and started doing like frat parties. So like that one clip in the film where all the kids are like drinking and like getting rowdy, that was from like a frat party.
I was going to say incorporating it to nightlife would probably be really smart on a college campus too.
Yeah.
Like
so then we
show up at a popular bar.
We did that for years where we would just like do nightclub tours where we would hit like 3 nightclubs. They would like push everyone off the dance floor, ride for 5 minutes, and then go to the next club.
Yeah.
You know, and you would just have to make sure you do it like before people were like drinking a ton.
Yeah,
because then the floor's wet, and then people are like, "What is this?" And guys,
people want to fight you because
we're trying to.
I'm trying to hump dry hump this lady right now. What the fuck?
But for the most part, it was pretty well, because it was before Instagram, and people were kind of looking for something different and exciting. You know, now
absolutely,
I just think too many people would be on their phones. I think the in-person stuff is starting to come back.
Yeah.
You know, because I've noticed that like they are asking me to go out to more in-person stuff, and it was dialed back for years, and it was really because of Instagram, I believe.
Yeah. Would that be, like you said, 30 days you're leaving? Is that something that you get extra for, or is that just like Red Bull ask? I do.
Oh no, it was extra.
Okay,
so like
because that seems pretty demanding as far as an athlete.
Yeah, like I would say some of those years were probably my best years financially with Red Bull, because I did so many of them, and I had that like special part of BMX, that special discipline that like I don't need ramps, you know. So they weren't just using me then for the college stuff and the nightclub stuff. They were also using me for like business meetings and, you know, Walmarts, and to where I would just set up in front of a Walmart. Sometimes I would have Odyssey have some bikes out there, and I would give out bikes, and to where we did like Walmart tours, and any place that had a flat area. You know, I only need 30 by 30.
Yeah.
You
if
know?
that even. Well, I mean, you've proven you definitely don't need.
Do you have a most bizarre one? Because I remember DeGroot telling me about how, you know, sometimes he'd be thrown into a boardroom or something like that with a bunch of executives, and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty bizarre, you know, or like just something cool but totally out of the blue. Do you have any that stick out? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot with it, but
there's one. I got flown out with my MC. I always brought Scott O'Brien. You know, nowadays I'm bringing Catfish. We're about to do some stuff in Vegas for Red Bull, but we went out, and it was at a dog show, and there was more dogs than people. and you know, I was telling Scott, the MC, I'm like, we got to do this. You know, we're booked to be here, and he's like, dude, we're not demoing for no dogs. And I was like, well, you know, we are.
Yeah.
You know, we're about to get it done. You know, it's just be a couple minutes. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you right now, we're not doing this for these dogs. And the funny thing is, when I did the show, the owners of the dogs made the dogs like clap for me by barking. So I would do a trick, and they're like, tell them, speak. Tell them you appreciate it.
I know a lot of dogs go nuts over bikes too. So wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and what made it funnier is it was a weenie dog show, so it was all Dachshunds.
That's amazing.
Oh my god! And
that's like seriously like a scene from a movie.
Poor Scott. Scott was just like, no ninja kicks for these fucking dogs.
He wasn't having it. Like we got in the car, and he was like, yeah, you need to double check this stuff.
That was a fucking low point. That was a low point in my life right there.
You need to double check this stuff before we do this.
Yeah.
If you think about it in the sense, like, how much stuff in the world can you show up and entertain people without in a very small area with zero activation? Like, if you think about it from Red Bull's perspective of like activation at a college campus and setting up anything, it's like, oh no, just send Terry out there with a girl and a boombox, and we can pay Terry. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying, but like, we can pay Terry fucking $3,000, $4,000 a day, and it's way the fuck less than having a crew of people set up stuff.
Yeah, I gotta say, it definitely worked. Like, if you scroll through all the videos, you can see students are like stopping and watching. Was, you know, because they're just they almost have to look. They're like, what is this? What is going on? What does this guy go to school here? I've never seen this guy here before. You know, so it it became like really fun.
Yeah.
You know,
That's cool.
Because I was, like I said, I was doing like 30-day tours to where I would be gone. You know, I would be
60
gone.
days.
Yeah. I would just, sometimes I look back at that travel schedule cause I have it all saved on my phone. I'm like, there's no way I could do that now. Like now I'm trying to get home to my family to where I'm trying to take like earlier flights back all the time to where it gets expensive to like, cause I look at that, like, I don't even think I would do it for the money, you know, just cause it was just, at a different point in life, you're just motivated.
Well, it's hard to understand that if you tell old Terry, you're like, I would turn this down, and you're like, you'd be like, what the fuck?
One point in the documentary, the movie that you just had come out, was that you had a point where you were going to a contest, I think in Las Vegas or something, and you're leaving, and it was really hard to leave Ledge and your wife behind, especially with the kid, like not really understanding that when you're that young, you don't understand like why dad has to go away, you know, and he's like, oh, don't go. And I could tell, I don't know, I could feel that moment in the movie pull at my heartstrings a little bit, because I'm like, oh, I know what that feels like when you need to leave for a trip, but your family and your kids are kind of looking at you like, don't go. And you know, I know you said this was filmed a year or so ago, but has that gotten a little bit better, or have you found ways to remedy that? I mean, I guess it's never going to get better because it's always hard, and kids don't really understand.
Well, I know we'll get into this, but you know, with him being nonverbal, it's tough to know what he understands and what he doesn't. And like now he's definitely understanding it more. You know, like even coming on this trip, like I had to hide my bag in the closet because that's
it's a visual cue.
He's going to see the bag and he's going to think he's going on an airplane. You know, and so the bag was like hidden last night, you know, because I'm like, I had to pack in the closet, hidden, bring in my deodorant, bring in my toothpaste, because if he sees that bag out, he's like, oh, either dad's leaving or we're going on a plane. And he was going to take his suitcase out and start packing, which is like really sad, because it's hard to explain to him sometimes, because it's tough to know what he gets and what he doesn't. You know.
Well, let's talk about Ledge. I think you know, I rewind to when we announced that we were having a kid. You texted me and congratulated me first, and then said that you know, you guys were pregnant as you guys were expecting as well around the same time, and how much of getting to that point was a struggle. And you know, it's hard because I think sometimes it's easy to take things for granted, because at points I have, like, when I said I always made this joke, like, oh yeah, I talked to Gary, I talked to other friends, like they were like, all right, we're gonna have a kid, and then it's 6 months, and then, you know, the whole pregnancy and blah blah blah, and then it was like, Amber got pregnant right away, and I bitched about it for a while, and then I kind of realized at a point I was like, this story is kind of like tone deaf, because of people aren't so lucky, and I'm bitching about being lucky, and your guys' path to getting Vanessa pregnant and being parents was a hard one all itself, right?
I mean, like when we finally got up the courage to like have kids, you know, because I was always like, this isn't me, I don't need kids. But then when we're like, okay, I want kids, you know, I'm at that point, I'm like 35. Actually, I was like 32 when we started, so it was like a good like 3 years of trying before we kept getting her checked. And then when we finally went and got myself checked and my sperm, like they literally said it looked like I spit in a cup. They're like, there's nothing in here. And I had just never heard of something like that. I'm like, I literally like not laughed, but was like,
fucking recheck that shit.
There's gotta be something in there. And they're like, no, this is, you know, we're going to send you to a specialist. And when they sent me to the specialist, they like looked at it underneath the microscope and showed me that there's just nothing. There's like zero sperm, not low sperm, no sperm.
What is the deal?
I guess it could be from like just genetics or just missing chromosomes, stuff that I really don't understand. It's just, I don't think it's that common.
This is my dumbness, but I'm like not like sitting on the bike, like they always hear.
Of course, that's I'm thinking
that's what people think.
This was the era of skinny jeans. I probably
suffocated those.
I did the skinny jeans for so many years. Trying to be like the French guys, and I probably did it for way longer than most because I started doing the skinny jeans earlier than the guys in the U.S.
Yeah,
but I think it. I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason why, but it's probably always been like that. It's always going to be like that. So then when we were like realizing that the only thing we could do was adoption or a sperm donor, we started looking on websites, and like it was overwhelming because you're looking at like a screen and just looking at guys' faces, so
weird experience.
I'm sure. So at first you're like, it's looking like this. It's like, who do I want to look like?
And then you choose Magoo.
It's like, who do I want to look like? Oh yeah, Jeff C, he's looking good. So we were kind of looking at like, okay, this guy's got a cool style. And it was tough because when it actually came to like order it, you realize that like they only have a couple vials of this stuff they would release out. So like maybe we would get one to take, but then it would end up being a miscarriage, and then you would go back to the guy and like he's like, oh, he's done, he only did 6, you got to pick a new guy. So then you almost have to like restart the process of like finding a guy. So we were always like in the beginning trying to find we were trying to find a good looking guy. We're like, so either a guy that looks like me or a guy that's like semi good looking, and then the more you pay, the more info you can get, like of their history and papers they wrote, more pictures, like
medical history and family history and stuff.
When it actually worked, I remember, I don't know where the photo is, Vanessa probably has it somewhere, but the sperm donor, he was like a baseball player. And so we had a photo there for a while of like the dude. I don't know where that photo is now.
It's crazy with this technology. But like technology these days, you could facial recognition this guy or something. Wherever this photo, there is. There's
the catfish show. I know they did that.
Yeah.
Where they were trying to find all the people getting catfish. Yeah.
Going through this journey together. I mean, I don't know your wife that well, unfortunately, because she seems like an incredible person, but this just had to be hard on both of you, both personally and together. And it was like, there was some other moments in the film where I see you like, sitting on the couch, speaking, and you guys are actually having kind of you guys are having a real conversation that I would have with my wife or anyone would have with their partner or whatever, maybe different subject matter, but equal seriousness. And, when you were doing the documentary, was it hard to have someone there filming during those moments, because you're talking about these deep topics while someone's there, and your kid's there and stuff like that? Was that part of it challenging?
That particular sit down interview, she like really was dreading it.
Yeah.
Because she knew that like this is going to be about the diagnosis of Ledge having autism and him not being able to speak and what our future is going to look like. So I think she had like thought about that question so much that like she like laid it down. I felt like she like spoke to the world.
Really I felt like it was a long time coming when that conversation happens, where she was just like the fear and all those, the what ifs of the future and stuff. It just kind of came pouring out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she's ever told me like that.
Yeah.
I think she knew she had to say it, and she knew she had to get it out. And it's something that we just kind of move through life right now and try to be really present with him and not worry about the past, the future, what it's going to look like for him, because you can go down that road all day long of like what his future is going to be and if he's going to have friends and a job. It's an endless road that you can spiral out of control. So us staying present on what he can do right now has been like the main focus that's kind of like helped us cope.
Yeah. Well, because you guys have been kind of going back, rewinding to trying to get pregnant and that whole process, you've already been through so much together as a couple that it probably, I mean, yes, there's more challenges and there's going to be more challenges, but you guys have a rock solid foundation, probably more than any couple I can really imagine.
There's a lot of blessings in that, for sure. Is when Ledge was born, and then, you know, as he's developing, I feel like I've had conversations. We've had our own things. Like Cannon isn't at this point, and this other kid is. And I've talked to other parents where they're, you know, like one of their kids not talking yet. I'm like, hey, dude, they do it at their own pace. Like trying to make them feel better at points of explaining my experience and blah blah blah. You know, is it, you know, like it had to be hard at points where you're looking at him and you're comparing him to other kids and you're trying to figure out, is he different? Is there something wrong?
Yeah. I mean, thankfully that stuff kind of ended a long time ago to where I kind of stopped comparing, you know, like I stopped waiting for that first word, you know, like.
But I mean, did you guys, I guess maybe I didn't ask it correctly. Like when did you guys get a diagnosis? When did you figure out? Like, was he 1 or 2? When you
like 2.5, 3.
Okay.
Like right in that range where like it's acceptable to like get the diagnosis and for it to be like a real diagnosis.
Okay.
To where, you know, now the waiting list is like insane because of so many kids getting diagnosed. But we were on a list for a long time. We got them in there and like immediately this is what they do. So she knew immediately, you know. The doctor, the moment she looked at him, I mean, of course she went through, you know, a big checklist of things, but as she was trying to get him to do certain things in that moment, it became really real because we're like, okay, these indicators that she's looking for are like right in front of our face, even though we've been trying to like deny it.
Yeah. Yeah. What is his official diagnosis?
He's just autistic, nonverbal.
Spectrum. Nonverbal.
So I guess you would consider him like pretty high on the spectrum since he cannot speak. So
and he's 7 now as well.
Yeah.
I know Cannon is 7, so I know Ledge is 7. I always breaking from the seriousness of it. The name Ledge, Flatland. I've always like tried to draw lines of like how did he arrive? How did the Flatlander name his kid Ledge?
Yeah. Well, it was at a drinking point in my life where I was just sitting at a bar doing some, you know, a Red Bull thing, sitting at a bar, and I think I had landed on Sledge, and then in the moment when I said Sledge, me and Scott were talking, and we heard the word Ledge inside of Sledge. We're like, Sledge, and then we both looked at each other and we're like, there it is.
It is a cool name. It is a very cool name.
So
yeah. So Ledge has obviously progressed quite a bit.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of look at it as like this exciting thing, kind of, you know, because you never know what he knows, and you're gonna find out something different every single day. And like a lot of the things that you guys experience that are, you know, those things are probably over. You know, the mimicking and the words and the just understanding certain things, and like we're getting that, but like so spread out to where like we might be getting that spread out for a very long time. Yeah. So in a way, I've kind of looked at the positive in it is that like, you know, we're going to be getting these little milestones probably for a very long time, and we're getting them every day, and we don't know what we're going to get. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So.
Yeah, that part of it has to be. So I guess I got like an abstract question about like thinking about your son and like a glass half full view that I couldn't shake while watching it. And I think about this a lot as about the world in general and about the time we live in general. And how lucky you are and we are collectively as humans to be alive right now in this period of time, because I feel like and it doesn't seem like this if you watch the news and if you pay attention to whatever, but I feel like this is one of the best times in human history because of things that we have at our disposal. And when I was watching your son communicate through the tablet, I was imagining him being born 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years previous. Like, you're alive right now, you're a parent right now, and he was born right now, thankfully. But the fact that he's able to communicate to both you and Vanessa and whoever else through this technology is pretty incredible, and what might come in the future to help him out. So on one hand, you know, of course, like, you wish he wasn't nonverbal and things like that, but how lucky that it happened now where you're having these technologies and these things that do help him communicate, and how, like, a glass half full kind of view is that, well, you can, and what before it would have been a whole different parenting experience, right? Like,
yeah, and like, dude, I didn't even know he could spell, and then he walks up to the pad and like he writes directors of photography and like spells it out, and we're like, where did this come from? You know, and then he writes screenplay by John Lynch. He's just memorizing credits in movies, and he goes and types it, and so we're thinking like, well, maybe he's just memorizing and he doesn't like know the actual words. And then in coming months, and even like before I just left, like, he was pointing at my back, and I'm like, what does this dude want? I thought he wanted my shirt. I'm taking off my shirt. And then he goes to the pad, and like, there's not a tab for piggyback, and typed in PIGGY. And then when he went to type in back, he put BAB and then backspace and put CK. He just wanted a piggyback.
Yeah. Wow. You would have never known that.
How does he know how to spell?
Do you just burst out a little, you know, like at a point? I feel like I would be like, yes, son.
I mean, we probably should watch what we say a little more, because sometimes we're rambling. We're talking about, I'm going off, we're saying all kind of crazy stuff. So there's no telling exactly
what's soaking in,
what is soaking in and what's not. So we've been more mindful of it, of like, I mean, this dude's going to the pad and saying he wants a piggyback, you know. It's like, he can spell. There's no telling what he might go up to that pad and spell one day while he's at, you know, the school.
What do the doctors say in this regard? Like, hey, he is a visual learner, he will be able to communicate, be able to write and spell, but he just chooses not to talk, or not chooses, but like, he's not able to, or those synapses didn't connect, or what is the
thing is like, since every child on the spectrum is like so different, no child, like, there's some children that might speak at their first words at 9, and then if you go to my algorithm, because all it feeds me is nonverbal children, there's 18, 20-year-olds that are using the pad, but they're not just using the pads like Ledge is just using a couple words. I mean, they're having intellectual conversations, and some of the conversations may start with like, hey, for years, this was very frustrating because I couldn't say what I wanted to say, but now I have this pad, and there's a lot that I want to explain. And they're being so thought out about, like,
going back to what I said, he could have gone a lifetime without having something like that, like a lifetime without being able to purely communicate with someone the way, in a deeper way, you know.
I mean, so as an example, like, I ride on FaceTime every day with my friend Mickey because we can't meet up, so we set the phones up and we session. So I always see his son go out there 2-3 years ago, and he'd be like, Jackson, bring me a banana, and I would just be like, dang, he's bringing him a banana, you know. I was like, man, I don't know if I can get Ledge to do that. But now here we are, you know. If I need a banana and Vanessa says, go bring your dad this banana, he's out there riding, like, there's a good chance he's going to bring me that banana. And that's little things like that. I didn't think that I would get that, you know.
It seems like, I guess I see what you're saying, or what you said like 5 or 10 minutes ago, is that the experiences that a lot of us have as parents are within a certain period of time, and yours are extended out.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it's like you get him longer.
Yes.
Which is a good way to look at it, is like, it's just a more in-depth, a longer process in a lot of ways.
Actually, the best advice I've gotten, you know, obviously so many parents have reached out, the autism community is like, it's huge, you know, and we're really learning that now from the film and the amount of like riders that are reaching out, that their significant others, they're having, you know, about to get diagnosed with their kids. But anyway, the best piece of advice I got was actually from a guy that doesn't have any autistic children, but his children are grown and they're both going off to college. And he said, look, like, the beautiful thing about it is, like, my kids are gone and they are caring about less and less about spending time with my wife and I. And it just, that's the reality. And the reality is that, like, Ledge may have his mom and you for a very long time. And that's the beautiful thing. And so obviously, like, I think more logical. And so I hear something like that and I get motivated. So I'm like, do I really need an office with trophies and Nora cups and bikes hanging on the ceiling? No, this part of the house can be Ledge's quarters. Yeah. You know, does Vanessa really need a salon? No, she only does my hair. I'm like, you know, I'm in there shaving my balls. Like, we don't really need a salon. That can be his kitchen. So
that's
really,
awesome.
and my office is like not connected to the house. It's like completely separate. So of course I've thought, like, if this is his quarters, this is great. Yeah. You know, like, I mean, he's already cooking for himself. He already goes and makes his own food. So I'm like, if there comes to a point to where, like, Ledge has to be with us forever, like, and that's probably going to be the case, I'm, like, fully prepared and, like, stoked for it as well, you know, because thankfully I'm in this position where we're kind of set up for it. Like, when I built the house, I wasn't thinking that, but now that it's there, like, the last thing I want is to have a room full of, you know, bike memorabilia when I have a son that can live there.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a beautiful thing. Like, it's like sums up parenthood in a lot of sense, where you have this thing and it has all this purpose, and it was a me thing. And then once you have a kid, you're like, I'm seeing this
is
very
about to
differently.
Be
it can like form differently.
A kitchen. This is
It is. That is a prime example of parenthood right there for sure. I feel like watching the film also, I could see, at least I projected my own frustration onto you in a sense, where, like, it's hard sometimes being a parent and your kid isn't doing or living up to this, like, expectation. I try and remind myself that my kid is 7 or my kid is, you know, like, because they are so, you know, they seem so able, and then all of a sudden they're not able, and you're confused, and you kind of project that, and I felt like that was part of the realness that I related to in the documentary, of the day-to-day isn't so pretty at points, or it can be. I felt like I could see you take that. I feel like that big breath. Or you would just, like, step away at a point because it was like that was the best way you could handle it.
Yeah, and, you know, we had a lot more footage to choose from,
I'm sure,
and we decided to keep it light.
Yeah,
you know,
because
it is a lot. You know, like being in the house all day, and just, it's, you know, that's why I try to get home so quick, because he's a lot to handle, whether you're at home or whether you're going out to get food at a grocery store. Like, you know, you don't know if he's just going to take off running. Like, it's a 2-person job to, like, you hold this hand, you hold this hand. Like, maybe they'll get a point to where I'm not worried about that. But of course, now, like, leaving Vanessa at home with him just seems like this is tough. This is tough. Yeah. You know, thankfully, like, we have a pool that he swims. He gets out a lot of energy. He can swim. You know, we have a big yard that he can play in. We're very grateful that, like, we have this space for him, because, you know, some people don't, you know, and that's how he gets his energy out, you know, is the swimming pool. It's very, like, self-regulating for him.
I loved how you set the precedent in there. I think it was before you guys were traveling, and you were like, hey, remember last trip, he kind of freaked out in the airport and it stressed us out. Like, let's not let it stress us out this time. Things like that. And it was great too, because it showed some humility. You were like, actually, I was the one stressing out about it or freaking out about it last time, and I won't be that person this time. You real time, and I don't, like, you got to see that in the movie, how parenting causes self-improvement, and the parents all know that. or they should anyways. And but seeing it in that movie portrayed in such a great way was really good.
Yeah.
Kind of like the pre-pep talk, like it's gonna be stressful. It's not. That's it. But
I got to give it to the Blue Dot Productions guys that did this, because they probably filmed 30 nighttime routines and like 30 morning time routines. So they had like so much to choose from, to where like if we were going on a trip, they're like, we're there. What time are you guys leaving? 3 a.m. You know, to where they were literally just like flies on the wall. Yeah. You know, to where the goal was to just make it as real as possible. And that is kind of what life is like now, is a little bit of anxiety hanging over of like, how is this gonna go? You know, even on that particular trip, we were going to North Carolina for a contest, and on the way back, he had a big freak out moment in the airport that was filmed that we decided not to put in. But it was all because like he just wanted to get on the plane, but we didn't know that. Yeah. So he's freaking out in the airport and just really having a meltdown, to where even they were like, man, I don't think we should film this. Like, this is a lot, real, you know, because I mean, the whole terminal could hear him freaking out, and we're just like, what's happening? Well, when we get on the plane,
calm. Yeah.
He just wanted to be on the plane, and he didn't understand that like there's a process. You got to wait in line. Yeah, that's the plane you're seeing out the window, but we can't just go riding. We just can't go riding on the plane whenever you want. We got to wait. So like when we got on the plane, and because we were so stressed, we're like, oh my God, this is about to be. We were like, this is going to be the worst plane ride. I'm like, I feel so bad for all these people on this plane, because it was going to be, I just thought it was going to be a nightmare. But he got on, and it was like, because it was much easier when he was younger. You know, he went to China and the south of France and all the feasts and Spain and, you know, Mallorca. He went everywhere when he was young, but now that he's older, he does have interests. He does have wants and needs. And the more he can't get out those wants and needs and like explain it to us in a way that we can like give him what he wants, it does become a little bit of a huge guessing game of like, what do we do and how do we fix this? Yeah. What is he actually asking us, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of noises, you know, it's a lot of noises that you're never going to figure out what he's trying to say.
Well, I commend both of you guys. I think I could put, I think I sent this to you via text. I could put myself and my wife in your guys' shoes and think about how we would handle it. And of course, it's, you know, it's not an overnight situation. It's a build up to it. Yeah. But being thrust into that situation, it seems really, knowing myself and my wife, it'd be very hard to navigate.
Yeah.
And so
I think for anyone, you know, I mean, sometimes you're sitting there looking at him and he's growing, and you're like, this is, each year it's going to get more real. Yeah. You know, he's about to, his legs are long. Like, this guy's about to be like, soon he'll be 10, then he'll be 13. So like, how is this going to be? That could be a question that like, you could just let yourself go into a world of fear, you know? So, thankfully just the practice of staying present has been what gets us through it, you know?
Yeah. And just modeling good behavior, or things like
meeting it with love, you know, I think sometimes just battling it all with love.
Yeah. And just to see how happy he is as well, you know, like I would have conversations with certain people and they're like, oh yeah, you know, our friend has an autistic little girl and she's so happy when we go over there. She's running back and forth and making noises with the iPad. And I was thinking, well, Ledge isn't going to be running back and forth. And now here we are 2 years later, and that's what he does. That's what makes him happy. He's listening to the same, sometimes 10 or 15 seconds of the same movie over and over. And if you look it up, it's because it gives him comfort that there's no surprises in that 10 or 15 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
So, interesting. Okay.
And that's why, you know, a lot of autistic kids love the water, because there's not a lot of surprises on how it feels. They can kind of be in there and know that however they move, there's no surprises. Feel the same. You know, it's very...
I mean, having that community has got to be, like, sharing tips and tricks has to be amazing. I mean, I was thinking about when you brought up the flight thing, how I remember a flight where both my kids were crying the whole time, and very stressful flight, you know, where
where you go like also, this at the same time. And so everybody that's bitching on the plane sees,
I had kind of the opposite where, sure, I'm sure a lot of people were thinking that, and I totally understand. But then you had people that have been there, you know, that have been there, done that, and they hand you like a little toy or something like that, or like they don't even say a word sometimes. They just hand you something to like give to them, not in like a hey, shut them up, but like hey, I've been here before. Maybe they'll like this. Like they know that they just need entertainment and stimulation or whatever.
Distraction.
And it kind of gave me like, I don't know, in that moment of chaos, like, oh, there's great people out there who have also been through a lot of shit. So it's
and now being in this world of like the special needs children, man, I spot from a mile away. I mean, because I just know those little indicators of a kid walking on their tippy toes, or you know, them wearing headphones, or them holding an iPhone. I'll spot them from a mile away, and you know, if I can catch up to them, I'll make sure to give the parents a smile, you know, because I'm like, I'm right there with them, you know.
Let's, I'm sure at a point we'll circle back to the documentary and Parenthood and all that stuff, but back to bike riding and the lifestyle and you know, alcohol and working out, that whole spectrum of, I feel like you're competing, you're doing well, you are, you know, podium, and then that starts to slow down, right?
Yeah, a lot of it had to do with this stuff, right? Because I started choosing a lot of the demos and stuff, a lot of the...
Oh, sorry, this stuff being the college shows. Sorry.
Yeah, like the guerrilla style stuff. Like, you know, I'm riding during the day at this stuff, and then at night, Red Bull's taking me out.
Yeah.
So that's how I would say I got introduced to like a little bit more of that culture.
I've been to 6 frat parties this week.
Yeah. and then if I like really look deeper into it, the years where I guess the good 2 or 3 years when I was like probably the obsessive personality kicked in that I did with everything else, I kind of did more with drinking, was probably around those times when Vanessa and I were going through those difficult, like, why isn't this working? We have to get a sperm donor. I guess I was in a way kind of hiding from, you know, I was using the alcohol as a distraction. Of, like, I didn't want to think about it. So my way of not thinking about it was kind of, you know, turning to that a little bit, more than I probably should have. Did the drinking,
obviously it starts on the road, but then did the drinking come home too? Was it the kind of...
Yeah, like it would start off as like, you know, me and my friend would go on like Wednesday nights, you know, and then the Wednesday nights, you really kind of lose a day or two of riding.
Yeah.
And then if you're doing, okay, man, let's do Friday nights too. Well, then if you drink a little bit on Friday, then you're going to not feel so good on Saturday and Sunday. And then before you know, okay, so then you get to ride on Monday and Tuesday and you're feeling like 100%, maybe 80, but then, okay, we're back to Wednesday again. So it became this thing where like I could never catch up.
Yeah.
But it was like relaxing me to like not think about what Vanessa and I were going through. So that's why I turned to it. And then it got to a point to where when I was even going to contest, you know, like Scott and I would, it's fine. Scott's not competing. He's just emceeing. But say we're going to Cologne, we would start drinking in the airport, and then we end up in Cologne, and then I'm staying out late drinking. And it kind of took an outsider of like seeing that, of like, man, what are you doing? You know, like what's happening here?
Did the events, the competitors in the events as well, like the early 2000s, I feel like a lot of people were also out drinking at events. And
yeah, it's kind of the culture, right?
Yeah, and then as events get a little more serious as time goes on, do the riders also start getting more serious? You know, like UCAT is not at the bar partying before.
Yeah, I think the riding level has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, the riding level just got so high in all aspects of BMX. Like, I mean, if you think about like a Logan Martin or like the way he's going to ride that course, it's just that's not going to go over well.
He said he was going to have a beer after he got a gold medal.
Well,
that's
after.
Literally, exactly.
But,
literally,
like,
that was
going out the night before. It's just it's not going to be an option to like think that fast. And I think with Flatland, the same thing. It's like you're not going to be just snappy and on fire. So I think it got to a point to where first maybe Marty was reaching out to me saying like, hey man, like whenever you're ready to talk about being coached, like I'm here. And I was at a point where I wasn't ready to accept it, that maybe I had a little bit of an issue. And he said, man, I forgot how he said it, but he said, do you see Matthias and those other guys like the night before the event, like sitting down at a coffee table, even like having a couple drinks? I'm like, no. And he's like, well, there's kind of your answer of like maybe what's going on,
So Marty, I was going to say Marty sort of stepped in.
Marty Kuopa.
Kuopa from Finland.
Yeah.
Does he still live in Finland?
Yep.
Yeah. Flatland legend.
Yeah.
So to have him reach out to say that he was willing to help you, or maybe it was mutual.
He could see a problem.
Yeah, he had already had like, he was coaching like, a guy from Thailand. He had already had a bit of a program going and was maybe looking to expand on it. And I was always kind of pushing away from it a little bit of like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. And then one day I was just sitting there with Ledge. Ledge was probably not even one. He was probably like 3-4 months, and I'm sitting there with him, just daddy duty. And I got a text from Marty one day and was just like, hey man, let me know when you're ready to do this. And for whatever reason, it clicked. I was like, oh yeah. Like if I'm really saying I'm not taking this riding for granted and everything that I built, like I need to get serious. So he sent me over like a list of rules when I agreed to do it. And part of that list of rules was like, no drinking like 6 or 8 months prior to an event. And that was like rule number 1. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, he said, think this over, look it over, get back with me tomorrow and tell me if you agree to my terms. And I was like, yeah, let's move forward. So
wow,
that's
awesome.
That's kind of how the relationship started. And
what were the other rules?
Man, there was like so much stuff.
Because paint a picture, this is all virtual, I'm sure.
It was all virtual, but there was even like contest runs virtual to where every Saturday morning, 7:30 my time, I had to be ready to ride in that garage over a Zoom call.
Yep.
And no matter how that run went, that 3-minute call went, then I have to sit with that the entire week until I get to redo it again. I just get one shot. And so as he added more students, there's more pressure because they're all on the call watching. It would be like 7 faces, like Toon from Thailand, Varo from Madrid,
it's a fucking final.
This guy from Russia, and they're all like, and when you would know your order before he would call, and it would be like, all right, Terry, you're going first. You ready? And like everyone's just sitting there watching you in the garage. And then you're done, and then you go on and watch the next guy. And then you would get a text from Marty like 10 minutes later that either said, good job, or you need to work on combo 3 all week. It was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Damn,
wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And also the prep before that. So when this call comes in, your bike better be dialed in, aired up, cleaned up, whatever. Like
this is a contest run.
Yeah. Like,
everything dialed in.
Like,
right?
I had like one time a peg come loose on a call, and like he kind of let me have it. He's like, man, he's like, you really need to take care of your bike maintenance.
I've only met Marty once or twice, and from my perception beforehand was like very stoic, serious person, probably not very nice, I guess, but incredibly nice person, a little bit stoic, and a little bit serious, but very, very nice. Like he
was
the
Helsinki.
Yeah, he's Finnish.
Yeah.
Culture.
Yeah. It was definitely
be like the biggest sweetheart in the world, but you still might not get him to crack a smile.
Opposing, like, I don't know if not opposing, but like a looming figure in a sense of like, wow, I should step up somehow. in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, he changed my life. Like, I'm so glad that, like, I'm, like, coachable. You know, I'm, like, a person that, like, you tell me to do something, like, I'm going to do it. Like, I almost, like, thrived in that. And it was motivating to me because, you know, at my age, it was something new and challenging to, like, listen to someone that had, like, done so much, you know.
What year is this? When you read the rules?
This was 2019.
19, so a little bit before COVID.
Yeah, this is when it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how hard was it to abide by Rule 1? Did you, like, drinking, did you just go, all right?
Oh, no, it was done. Like,
Easy thing?
He told me that, and then, like, 3 days later, he's like, hey, man, I looked at some videos of you from, like, 2011. You were definitely, like, 10 pounds lighter, and you were quicker on the bike, so you probably could afford to lose, like, 10 or 15 pounds. And I was like, okay, I guess so. I feel like I'm riding pretty good. But then it took me, like, having a couple little minor injuries and then sitting with the physical therapist. They're like, yeah, man, if your core would have been a little bit tighter, you probably could have prevented, like, this little back injury. So hearing little things like that was, like, a wake-up call. And then Marty saying, like, dude, you gotta take off the 10 or 15 pounds. So the moment that decision was made, I didn't, like, wait till, like, Monday. I was like, I just walked out the door and started running. You know?
Yeah, and here's what
Sounded
I
like
like.
very Forrest Gump there.
Yeah, I just felt like running. Yeah. Here's what I love about this is that I, from the outside, who's followed you through, I mean, for as long as I can remember, like, online and whatever, like, I didn't know you ever hit rock bottom. Mm-hmm. Some people have that where they like to broadcast everything about their life and the struggles they're going through and things like that. And you kind of kept it professional, or I should say, like, kept all that stuff out of your public life. And that was obviously by choice in your personality. Like, you want to fight your battles on your own time, sort of thing.
And I think like there was footage of a lot of that stuff, and people had it, and they knew not to, like, post it. They knew that I didn't want it posted. So, like, that particular footage in the film with Matthias and Alex, like, putting me to bed, like,
did you keep getting out of bed? Is that what the problem was?
They had to, like, carry me back from a bar in Japan or something, to where they had flights the next morning. They were ready for me to calm down. And so that particular morning when I woke up, like, the hotel room was trashed, and Scott was like,
buddy.
Yeah. He was like, hey, man. I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, don't what's up me. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, don't fucking what's up me. He's like, go look in the shower. Everything's demolished. You almost broke my laptop. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. You know, like, all I could just kept saying, I'm sorry. And, like, I couldn't believe that I let it get to that point. So that was probably a moment where I kind of knew that, like, things are kind of over where they need to be.
And is that like 2018-ish?
Yeah. So, like, right before Marty kind of got a hold of me.
Yeah. So maybe, I mean, they're all friends too. Maybe they talked about it and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah.
It was in everyone's face.
Yeah.
You know, it was. You know, I just didn't know how to go from, like, 1 to 3 and stay at a 3. I was always, like, going from, like, 1 to 10, and maybe it was for attention, maybe it was a little bit of, like, showing off. Just, I don't know what it was. It was
the backflip you did in your boxers was pretty impressive, though.
Yeah, I broke my neck.
Yeah.
So,
but a lot of this came from your close friend groups and from within. That's
and do you think? Good. I mean, he used the word rock bottom. Do you think I feel like you caught yourself before rock bottom.
I think I did.
Yeah.
I
think rock bottom, because
sort of his rock bottom.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it could have been, you know, like, all that stuff could have ended bad. You know, when you're like when you're on a boat in Japan and people are telling you to jump off the boat, and you're, you know, that
and you're thinking about it.
I could have drowned, you know.
Yeah.
You know, people are egging me on, and I'm in the moment. Like, that stuff could have ended, like, really, really bad.
Yeah.
You know.
And then so all this starts kicking off, and then that's when the health kick comes in. That's when the Terry 2.0.
That's That's the Nora Cup 2020. And,
yeah.
Yep.
And then, so I guess you have it in when we talked earlier, and I did hear a little bit about this beforehand. Nora Cup, you win it. That's your third one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the flat community, I always say, is like, the trail community is kind of rivals it these days, but passionate. The responses, like of the however many I send, the percentage of responses is always the highest. And they come in very quick as well, because they've all like kind of formulated their votes and stuff like that. But that year, I think you did go on a little bit of a, like, I'm the fucking man, and just so you know, I'm reminding you type thing.
That was 08.
Yeah. Oh, that was 08.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 08, I kind of took like this shameless marketing approach to where, like, since all the covers and stuff worked, I did reach out to like everyone that I knew that was getting a ballot.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I think I did well this year.
Yeah.
I did this, and this. If you don't want to vote for me, that's totally fine. But I would appreciate it if you did. And I, for the most part, got a bunch of votes, a bunch of people that emailed back and said, sure, man, like I was going to vote for you anyway, or dude, thanks for reaching out. And then I
feel like you were fine that year.
And then I got a couple that said, oh man, I was going to vote for this person, so I'm going to stick with my vote. And I'm like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I actually had enough, because I was keeping tabs, I had enough written down to where when I walked in the Vegas venue, I kind of knew.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I got this, you know? And I actually remember that year that I did that, Fat told me that you walked to his cubicle and said, like, what's going on with Terry? Like, is there something going on with NorCup? And like, there's a lot of votes coming in right now.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, I think he's on to you. Like, you know, because maybe it wasn't.
It could have just because I don't think I was like on to anything.
Well,
but I think
I know
more
I wasn't doing anything necessarily wrong.
Yeah.
But he told me that you had walked up and was like, dude, there's a lot of votes coming in for Terry. Like, what's happening here?
Oh,
and
yeah.
obviously he didn't probably want to say like, yeah, he's asking everyone. But yeah, so
yeah, that's what I mean. I think that was a dominant year for you. So it wasn't. I was probably asking like, why is he so dominant this year?
Yeah.
There's more than any like.
Because I'm asking people.
No. Do you think? I mean, obviously, you don't think you weren't asking because you thought you didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
You were just trying to cinch it up.
Yeah.
You know, I always use Nyquist voted for himself one year, and he sent me this whole. I feel like it's like the one time he voted for himself. There's always I will say that as well. Flat community has the most votes most self votes of any category. People that vote
I've
for
done
themselves.
it before.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, if you really think that you had the best year ever, it's like, yeah, fucking vote for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe when I was 25, I was like, what a fucking weirdo. But these days I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. And so Nyquist is always that one where like he had this full paragraph justification type thing. And he broke down why he actually thought he was
legit.
like, and I was like, I think I just sent like a couple words back, you know, like, you're good, dude, don't worry about it, or something like that. Like, because it is hard to do that self-campaigning thing. But I've also never been necessarily the best at something, so I don't know what that's like. Like
for 2020, I'll say that it was the year of COVID, so everyone was locked up.
Yeah.
And we did this game online bike, and it was like 6 or 7 Flatlanders that did it.
What a cool concept.
It was like me, Alex, Frank Lucas, Marty, Raphael Chiquette. It was like Travis Collier. It was like 10 of us maybe. And the concept was you do the trick, and then everyone has 24 hours to post it. And I, of course, got obsessed with like trying to do everyone's tricks, and almost to the point where I'm like, I just became obsessed over the game. And then after I ended up winning, I got a call from Matthias because I was like celebrating it like it was like a real contest win. Like I popped a bottle of champagne, I'm spraying it all over Instagram. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get bonuses for this from Red Bull. Like this is a real contest, and I was just like really stoked. And Matthias called and was like, he was trying to be a friend and trying to give me some good advice and maybe some motivation, but I took it the wrong way. And he was like, hey man, I'm proud of you. Like it was impressive, but I wish you would take that, what you did and shown how you were able to learn all those tricks so fast and bring it into your contest mindset, because you would be a better rider. He's like, you really surprised me how fast you were able to learn everyone's tricks. He's like, dude, that's dope, but you could beat me and anyone if you took that. And in the moment, my ego was like so in the way of what he was trying to say. I was like, man, worry about you. Or I said something and like got off the phone like pretty mad. Yeah. You know, I was like upset. And so then I go on this like tangent in my garage for like the whole rest of the year of like learning all these tricks and like almost like in an angry way, you know, to where I'm just
prove it to you.
I'm almost trying to like prove it to him. But then after I won the cup, I realized that like I really was just doing what he was telling me I was capable of the whole time. Like he wasn't saying that I couldn't learn all these tricks. He was saying that, dude, you have potential. Yeah. So I called him after I won the cup and I'm like, dude, I got to apologize. Like you were trying to help me as a friend. And I was like, I was an asshole. Yeah. You know, he's like, it's fine. Yeah. He was like in Africa with his.
He's like, he goes, c'est la vie, Terry, c'est la vie.
But it's like, that's what he was doing. Like he's trying to help.
Yeah, he saw this potential. He saw this talent that was super. Yeah, he's like, apply that.
Yeah, and when I won the cup, he's like, dude, you did it. You know, you did exactly what I said you could do. You can get back to that level, and you proved it. And when I got off the phone, I'm like, I need to call him back and say like, dude, I'm an idiot. Like I really didn't get what you were trying to do. So he, I always say like he really kind of helped me win that cup, you know.
When you, which cup means the most?
I would say the 2020 because, you know, a big part of it was Ledge was here. It was in that time frame of me, you know, wanting to be the best I could be for him, and I guess also trying to prove Matthias wrong when I was proving him right.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that can happen though a lot in life where someone says something and it bounces off of you a different way, or you take it a different way. And I mean, at least you turned it into motivation, you know, and whatever because there's sometimes where people could say something that can shut you down.
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't get what he was saying. I was like, what is he saying? But just, you know, thankfully I have friends like that'll kind of like set you down and say like, bro, you haven't been progressing, but you can, because you just showed it in this like little game. So why don't you take that energy and bring it to your house? And so I don't know why I didn't hear it like that, but that's pretty much how he told me. But what I heard is like, I don't know what I heard.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Throw the headphones on. We'll watch, because I felt like this was the year that we went around and surprised people, and this went pretty well as far as
surprising Terry today with this award. I can't stop smiling. I couldn't even sleep last night. I was just so excited because I know he deserves this. He's been such a motivator and a mentor to me and many others in the BMX community. So yeah, congrats, Terry. This is absolutely amazing, man. You've been crushing it. So yeah, dude, I'm so stoked to give this to you. You have no idea.
So you got a lot going on at this point.
Yeah. Especially as a new parent. I mean, we all know it. I
was probably rolling like 8% body fat under that shirt. I was shredded to the gills underneath there.
So it was it's
what was the cover like? What was the like, you know how they got you there and everything, like just a photo shoot someone wanted to shoot?
Red Bull set it up and said that they were doing a photo shoot with Brock and I,
Okay.
And so we had first did like some photos, and I'm like, this is like so strange.
Yeah, random, whatever. Yeah.
And I didn't think I had the cup because I didn't think that I was going to get it, because I had just did a shoot on the side of a mountain in like Arkansas where Martinez come and built the platform on the side of this mountain. So I would have thought if I was going to get it and it was coming through Red Bull, then it would have been given to me then.
Yeah.
So there was a couple times that during that photo shoot on the side of the mountain where like they were filming me and it was weird. I'm like, is something about to happen here?
Yeah.
So I had pretty much like
written it off.
Yeah, written it off. Yeah, especially with Keo and the year that he had. So.
Yeah. No, it's
that's amazing.
Yeah,
well done.
It's hard to win. I feel like not many people go, a 5-year span of not winning the cup, not winning the cup for 5 years, and then getting it. But let alone, you said it's 12 years, which is
05, 08.
Yeah, which is insane to come back 12 years later and get it. And you still consistently get votes as well. So I
always say if the house is burning down, that's the only thing I'm taking. Is those 3 cups. Yeah. And then if the cups did burn up, I would probably hit you up and be like, dude, how do I get these things?
Yeah, we'd make it happen. I
mean, there is no higher honor because it's peer voted, and it's just it's the realest thing. So I don't blame you for that.
So coming into the 2020s and kind of Terry 2.0 attacking contests, you have Ledge, like what, I guess, where are you at coming into these days now?
I guess in the beginning, like around this time and around the time of me hiring Marty, like it was to like, I thought it was so cool that like Alex, his kids could like see him on the podium and like, be a part of his career that way, to where like he's at Feast on the biggest Flatland stage of the world and his kids are like, they're watching him or they're competing and they're like, oh my God, my dad is rad. And I'm like, dude, your dad is rad, And so in a way I wanted like Ledge to see that. But then after his diagnosis came along, it became a little bit of a different journey. It was like, I still want to be in shape. I still want to like use all these practices that Marty gave me, but it's no longer so like Ledge can see how rad his dad is. Yeah. It's more so that I can just like kind of give thanks, to myself that I've been able to do this for this long and like truly stay grateful for it and, be the best I can be for him, but not so he can like be there and see how rad his dad is, that those goals kind of shifted a little bit, being there for him is more important than like dragging him along to a BMX contest
or being gone.
Well, and him seeing you day to day is more impactful than that one snapshot of seeing you on a podium occasional, a month here, a month there, whatever. It's those everyday things, the way he sees you live your life, I'm sure is incredibly impactful, and just having that discipline is that's
now the favorite part of every day is like when I'm riding on that backyard pad is like I stop like 10 times because he's on my back pegs, or he's sitting on the bench watching me. So like that's why I want to be at home is to I want to be at home riding, but I also want to be at home with him, like everything's right there, the pool, the riding spot. So
home is home, and
home
it
is
seems
home.
And home is very nice. You have you've done. I don't know if you want to discuss it, but I think you've done well even outside of BMX, some investing stuff and all that. So like you are relatively comfortable and parlayed those Red Bull years and the contest winnings into a long-term thing. Correct?
Yeah. Sometimes I think like, man, maybe all that happened for a reason, like I met a random guy in a parking lot that helped me with real estate, like he basically kicked me out of the parking lot and said like, you can't ride here. And then I realized the guy owns like 90% of my town and he ended up being my financial mentor, which helped me be smart with the money that I had coming in, and help me with getting my first properties, and then all the way to now still getting commercial stuff from him. And I always think that like recently, if like maybe all that happened for like a big reason to where I can be there for Ledge and Vanessa and not have to really stress, because it all happened through BMX. Like if I wouldn't have been out in that parking lot and that old man wouldn't have came up.
That is funny. That's very
incredible. Actually,
it would not have happened. Because I was out there with a Flatland tattoo. My hair was in braids. He could have easily wrote me off and said like, leave and don't come back. But he said like, if you come to my office, I'll write you out like a written permission slip that you can do tricks in this Hobby Lobby parking lot. And that just started like a long relationship to where now he's like in his late 70s. That was in his like, early 50s.
Wow.
So you met him 15, 18 years ago.
Yeah. Like he got me started in real estate like 07 probably.
Oh, wow. All
amazing.
Right. After the crash then.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good time to get started. Yeah. Makes sense. That is very cool that just as you said, like, I'll give you a little slip that's signed that anybody comes bothers you, you have permission to
and that's
ride
what
here.
It said. And I had it laminated, and like I was always like so ready to pull it out if like a cop or something.
Yeah.
But like at that point, like cops know I'm out there all day, so like I'm like, man, I'm never gonna get to use this thing.
Yeah, he was the last one to actually bother you.
But then when he would stop out in the parking lot for years and years after that, it became more of like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and listen to what he has to say, because he knew so much about maybe what I needed to be doing with,
It's funny how it's like impressive for you, and then, but it also probably was like a bit of a lesson for him in a sense, where he's like, hey, I went to go kick this kid out of a parking lot, and now we've actually been working together. He was dressed like a fucking idiot, like one of those things. And then he's like, and then he ends up being an investor, 15 years, 18 years. He's been a, investor in my company or whatever.
The craziest thing is like that happened. And then, I did my own real estate journey with my own partners and me and Vanessa. But then years later, staying in touch with him, I ended up buying his first commercial real estate from him, which was like a storage unit facility. Oh. And that was like, he actually had him and his wife's name written on the concrete out there, because that was like one of their first properties.
Crazy. Yeah. And is that the one that did really well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah. What do you have? Is there other stuff that we missed in any sense?
Well, maybe I just got reminded of this. Something that I saw from you for the first time ever that I now see everywhere is Raising Cane's. Is it from your area or something?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Baton Rouge,
the chicken restaurant. And it was just funny because I had seen you promote this place for years that I didn't really know what it was. And now all over the US you see this this chain pop up everywhere.
He's doing
I kind of feel like a hipster in that way. I'm like, yeah, I knew about it way back when, because Terry used to.
You've definitely had some random sponsors over the years. The Tiger Balm.
But are they? So did that connect? Was that like through your area? Is that where they started, or is it something around?
Their first location was Baton Rouge. So now they're like, they're all. Yeah. They're all the way in the Middle East. We got off the plane in Bahrain for Bikes Over Baghdad, and like there's Raising Cane's right there in Bahrain at the airport. They're in Hawaii. They're
everywhere. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a billionaire. He's on the owner of Raising Cane's is like a guest star on Shark Tank now.
Amazing.
He comes in and like
this chicken's pretty good. I think I had it for the first time ever this year. Like in 2026, first time I ever had it. It was good.
I owe them a lot, because they've like really stood behind me going on like 18 years now. And it just all started from me like going in there and wanting to put like a poster of mine I just thought the vibe of the place looked really cool. And going in there 18 years ago, I'm like, I wonder if the manager will like put like a poster of me in here, because there was all kind of movie posters, and I'm like, this would be cool to have a BMX photo. And then he was like, you can take my card and get with me. And I just kept the card in my wallet. And then Dave Mavro did something with me on the Red Bull website where like I dropped my wallet and everything fell out of it. And then I did an interactive thing where I pulled everything out the wallet and spoke about it. And so the card that guy gave me was in my wallet from the time he gave it to me. And so Matt was like, tell everyone what that is. And I'm like, oh, this is a Raising Cane's car. I love eating here. And so when I went home, I was like, I'm going to send this thing from redbull.com to Cane's. And that's how it started.
Huh.
That's awesome.
And then the guy that was on the card, that was the actual owner, the billionaire?
No, that was
the manager of that. Okay.
And then I reached out to like Cane's corporate.
Okay.
And then that I got the contract that first year, and now I do 3-year deals, and it's gone 18 years.
That's amazing.
You're still riding for chicken?
Still Cane's. Yeah, that's why you see every contest. I'm X Games, American BMX Flatland League. I'm Cane's, Raising Cane's all the way.
Really? That's I didn't know you still rode for him. That's sick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, one time I was doing my self promo, and I called Keith. I called Ryan. I'm like, I just got this deal. I'm trying to do like this big Cane's interview thing. And he's like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
He's like, that ain't how it works.
Yeah.
And so I figured out a way to where like the next issue, I at least got like a photo wearing the Cane shirt. But I remember calling, and he was like, no, we're not going to do a Cane.
You've done a good job.
We're not going to do an interview around you riding for chicken.
You've done a good job, because I have a good brand association.
I do. I do
as
as well.
So that's awesome.
And we bought Tiger Balm. My poor wife has had sciatica issues for like 3 weeks, so she's been on the Tiger Balm quite a bit lately.
Yeah, it works.
Every time I've gone to the store and get it for her, I'm like, Terry Adams rode for Tiger Balm.
Yeah,
very funny. I think that's great though.
Going back to like professionalism and making a career out of this stuff, like you took many avenues that other people didn't take. Like riding for Tiger Balm, or a place like a restaurant that serves chicken. Like it's all these kind of like sponsorship NBDs, I think, are also a good lesson, and something that you kind of paved the way in. That's great.
For a while there, I was like, man, am I the only guy like who's gonna have like this style of sponsor? And then when Spinner, I think something happened with like Ballpark Franks. I was like,
you're like, all right.
Yeah. I was like,
it's all good now.
We're in.
Yeah. That's great.
What about just in general with the I also use you as an example when somebody texts me and they, like you want, I've got an Instagram video that you want to post, or that they want posted or something. And I always feel like you are the best at being like, hey, I'm following up, or just checking up on this or something like that. And it doesn't bother me in the sense, and I use you as an example of like, Terry Adams will text me 5 times, but eventually I will get back to him, and I am not bothered in one sense, like I appreciate it these days when somebody is persistent. Is that a trait? I feel like that trait has carried you a long way.
Yeah, I mean, I broke my phone the other day because I texted so many people the link to the documentary on Amazon. Like my phone actually broke, and I went to Verizon, and they're like, "What'd you do to it?" And I'm like, "It glitched out." And they're like, "Why would it just glitch? You sure you didn't drop it?" I'm like, I think I sent like 3,400 texts in like 2 days, and it just got really hot. And dude, I mean, I'm texting. I'm texting people that I haven't heard from in 10, 15 years. I mean, if they rode BMX and they have a connection, I mean, I'm texting everyone from Bruce Chrisman to you name it. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on. If I got your number and I know that you ride BMX and you might enjoy the film, like and hey, you might have just got a message from me 6 months ago that was trying to get you to come to the premiere. Like I kind of just always had that mindset, and I do think it probably comes from like those earlier years where like things happen because I was persistent.
And you know why it works for you is because you're never rude and you're never pushy. You're just like, here's this,
and genuine.
You're interested.
I feel like genuine, and I feel like genuine when it goes the other way too. I feel like you're probably genuine when you get shut down as well. I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get that it can be like a little much, probably. But I've never, knock on wood, I've never had someone like hit me up and say like, dude, it's too much, you know, like maybe someone's thinking it, but no one's really told me that. And I mean, I'm 42 now, so I mean, I'm not going to stop doing it. So I did, you know, that's why I mentioned the Ellen thing and the thing I sent you, because I mean, I sent videotapes and magazines to Ellen for 5 years before they called me, you know, because
Tell me the premise around why you were on there again, because that's incredible. Like, and you were on her show at like her peak.
Yeah, like I was. I've loved Ellen, and she's from New Orleans, and every time she walked out on the stage, I knew when she went out to do her monologue, I just knew sitting there, me and Vanessa would watch it every night. I'm like, that's the perfect spot to ride Flatland, like right where she's walking out. Like I can do that right there. Like I could see the tricks and I could see her liking it. And so I started sending, like, I sent the ride cover, I sent the plus cover, I sent letters, and I got a call one day from them and they were like, yeah, can you be here Tuesday? I'm like, yeah, I can be there Tuesday. Well, they never called me back, but I saved their number. And so I took that number and I probably called once a week for like 3 years and just left messages like, it's Terry, you guys told me a year ago, you know, that, that you would have me on Tuesday. And then finally I got a producer call me back after like 2 or 3 years. And I said, dude, I don't know how you got this number, but you have just called and called and called. We got your letters, and what are you doing next week? And I was like, don't hang up on me. I was like, last time you guys hung up, like, it just never ended. He's like, no, it's happening this time. I'm like, dude, last time, like, I went and took a shower. I was all excited, and I never heard from you guys again. Like, do not hang up unless this is for real. He's like, it's real, man. So it was like a talent. He's like, dude, it's not what you were going to get last time. It's like a talent section. We'll hold your bike in the back. You'll still get to see Ellen in the backstage, and we'll make it happen. And, so yeah, but it happened because like I could have easily gave up on that.
Yeah.
You know, I could have easily just said like, this ain't happening, but
this is great.
I wasn't giving up on it.
What context is lost on me there, but
yeah.
It was cool. Then they took footage of me outside and they used it like for commercial breaks for like the whole season.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So like this might have been simple for you, but it's nerve wracking in that situation, huh? This is just all one take, right?
It's one take, yeah.
I went to a filming of, I don't know, he's got the big old crazy beard now. Something, one of these talk shows. Only talk show thing I've ever been on, and Serena Williams was on it. And they came out and they did the whole segment, and the whole show happened. And then their producer came out and was like, hey, we're going to redo that Serena segment. And she literally, they just redid it, the whole entire segment. And I was like, oh, does that happen very often? And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know what the miss was. Like, there was something in there that she did not like, and that they had to redo the whole thing. It was Letterman. Wow. It was Letterman show. Yeah.
So I met Ellen at an In-N-Out here in California. I was out here for X Games one year recently, like a few years ago, when they had the X Games at Vista. And I'm on my way back to the airport. And I'm like, oh, In-N-Out, you know, California, let's have In-N-Out. So I go there by myself and I'm waiting, and I order, and I'm kind of standing there waiting for my number. And I notice her standing there, and I'm like, you know, I look a few times, and I'm like, I look online again, like, cause I'm like, am I going crazy? Is this her? And I like look online, like I type like quick, like on my phone, like
can't
recent
believe you need
picture
to do
of
that.
Ellen.
Ellen's Ellen.
What?
I can't even believe you needed to look her up.
Right. Well, no, I did, because I was just like, in my head, I was like, whoa, is that really her just standing there at In-N-Out? And so I was really covert. I wanted to be cool about it, you know, like met celebrities before, you know, so I didn't want to like totally fan out, but I just like kind of nudged over there, and I was like, hey, sorry to bother you, but are you Ellen? And she's like, oh no, I get that sometimes, but no. And I forgot what she said, but it was like kind of polite-ish, but also like, you know, shut me down really quick. And it was her 100%. And so what I figured out was I think she was there with either some, like on some charity thing with like maybe like this group that she, and I'm just guessing this, but a group that she does charity with. It's like disabled people, disabled adults though, that she was all with having lunch with, and I saw some other people kind of looking over there too, but like obviously didn't want to interrupt because she was with her group, and I respected what she was doing, you know. But I was like, oh, that was totally her though. And
That's funny.
She just lied and said she wasn't. But I'm 99.9% sure it was her.
Or maybe you were on shrooms.
I don't think so. No,
you never know.
No.
I just went through the text. We talked about Mira, but you also gave some credit to Robbie Morales.
Yeah, and I mentioned that he probably doesn't know this, and someone reached out to me on the cult account a couple days ago and said, like, dude, your documentary was awesome. And I'm like, I wonder if that was him.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so I like responded back and was like, bro, if this is you, I want to tell you something. You had a big part in my thinking a while back. So, I
can try and call Robbie and see if you want.
He probably wouldn't remember this,
but that's even good for the podcast.
Really?
Hey, you haven't told him? You haven't told him it?
I don't think so. No, I probably.
Let's see, because it'd be good because then I can pester Robbie about not doing the podcast again. He's probably not going to answer.
So it's something that he didn't even tell me. He told someone else. But it's not that interesting though. Maybe I'll tell you first, and then you.
Okay.
It's
right.
probably not. Okay. Yeah. There was a time when I was not doubting going down all these channels of like doing stuff different, but I was definitely like trying out a bunch of different things, and I came out with the video called My Girl, and it was where I took my bike on a date, and this was like 2006.
I remember this. Yeah.
And I brought the bike. I mean, we did all kind of stuff. We went to the movie theater. We went to the beach. We had strawberries. We played peekaboo. We did all this stuff. And it was at a time where I was just trying anything, to try to get my name out there.
Yeah.
And I heard that Robbie was in the ride offices one day. And I think probably heard this from Fat, I'm sure, or Jeff, that said that Robbie was talking to Keith and said like that was like a really smart move on his part, and he's like, actually I think that was like one of the coolest things I've seen in a very long time for BMX, and it gave me that reassurance to like, don't doubt it. It may be a little goofy, it may be a little funny, but like I look at Robbie as like someone that's like pretty hardcore, to where if something is like not cool, he's probably going to say it. So the fact that it fell into like a cool category for him, I was like really stoked on that. And I took those words with me, even though I wasn't there, and I heard that he said it. I believed it, and just kind of
it's a big confidence.
I used it as like reassurance to say like, man, stop like doubting myself. Like if there's something I want to do that's a little different, that's maybe not like traditional hardcore Flatland or hardcore BMX, just give it a try. And if people don't like it, they don't like it, but maybe they'll connect with it. He did for some reason. I mean, it was completely ridiculous.
It's like
I'm eating whipped cream off my handlebars. I'm making out with the bike.
Was there a makeout session?
Yeah, I think I make out.
Did Vanessa film this?
No, my friend Mickey did.
Amazing.
Is it when it gets a little sensual here, huh?
Yeah, lights go down. It gets weird.
All right. I trust you on the whipped cream.
Yeah, you don't want to go further.
Yeah. Oh boy. I lost what I was going to say.
This is when you became bisexual.
Yeah, there you go.
Much.
There you go. There had to be at least one dad joke in there. Do you consider yourself a Flatlander or a BMXer?
I'm Flatland.
You're Flatland. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, there's Flatland going across my stomach.
Yeah. When did you get that?
18.
18?
Yeah. Like right when I got back from Japan, I'm like, oh, this is happening. Yeah. Full gangster tattoo, For a while there, it was like the only tattoo I had, just because it kind of scarred me it just really hurt.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because it was just no body fat, and, just it hurt. So I was like, man, I'm never getting another tattoo. But, but BMX Flatland,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is as far as like longevity goes in flat, I mean, obviously you have Alex Jumlin, who's 5 years older than you are or something like that, and he's still killing it. And is there, I mean, the thought about slowing down any of this? Like, are you, when the Olympics comes up, are you going to throw yourself in there for that and at least see how it goes? Or
it's funny because in an odd way I feel like I'm like peaking with the way I feel and the way I'm able to like handle pressure, and I am able to like kind of block out that outside noise from being present. So I feel like I would almost be doing myself a huge disservice by like not competing. So right now I'm like I'm fully invested in like staying on the competition circuit, whether that be here in the US, going to Europe and Asia. I'm still going to keep going. And you're right, like Jumlin and like those guys that are still riding at a high level, James White, I don't even know how old he is, but
I think he's 70 or something.
I mean, he's not a young man. And then, Trevor Meyer just came to my house the other day and like, I mean, he's riding the same Trevor that was winning X Games gold medals in the 90s with Paul Higgins being the announcer. Like he's still the same Trevor. And
did he sand your driveway?
It's funny because he's looking at my backyard spot and he's like, man, I'll just ride in that cul-de-sac. And I'm like, no. Yeah, but he would, if he lived there, he would have sanded it down. I guess everybody knows that story, huh?
I mean,
I don't think a lot of the viewers here know it, but it's pretty exceptional.
I don't even know if it's real.
It's real.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were even talking about it at my house. Like his mom actually was out there like holding the extension cord, because you got to hold the extension cord up.
Well, tell the whole story.
I think the whole story would just be that he sanded down his whole cul-de-sac with a hand sander. And his mom helped him. Yeah.
Like the asphalt, talking like right?
The asphalt.
Yeah, because I guess, people in the U.S. know what it is, but people who are listening outside, it's in the U.S. sometimes there's streets that just come to like a big circle where it's houses all the way around the circle. And so it's kind of like end. Basically a big circle of concrete or pavement or whatever. Yeah. Sanded that whole damn thing.
It's funny.
Whole damn thing by hand.
It's funny because in my version of it, it's not even motorized. There is no cord. He's just out there. Dead silence.
Could see that.
Yeah, I mean,
let's
like Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. Like.
Yeah, I mean, Flatland guys, we're different.
Yeah.
But it's cool though to like the fact that it's not that hard on your body to where like he's out there still doing it. Like just watching him the other day, I was like, dude, this is insane. It's like so inspirational that he's. I don't know how
hasn't lost a love for it. I think is like the most important thing. Like how many grown people out there can do an activity that they've done since they were 15 and still participate.
Bro, if you pull up his Instagram, I don't know if you've been seeing what he's been doing with the boomerang trick. Yeah, look at these boomerangs. I mean, he's like still out there having like that. Wow. That just seems insane. That's a big man.
That he is big. That is crazy. Wow, he doesn't really look like he's aged much, huh?
No.
Events. I know X Games, I was surprised to hear that X Games in the States is doing a Flatland demo, correct?
Oh, did they decide to move forward with it?
I'm pretty
Sacramento.
Sacramento. That came from somebody who works for X Games.
Rich?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, somebody else.
Yeah. I know they were trying to get it together.
Okay.
It was going to be a demo that kind of looked like a contest.
Okay.
But maybe
not.
Maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah. Last I heard is maybe they decided against it.
And then they are doing flat in Japan, correct?
Are they?
I would assume.
Yeah.
It's such a big market.
I haven't heard.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah. I hope.
0 for 2 on that one, basically.
Yeah.
But fuck it. Let's find out right now.
But the American Flatland series. It's going this year?
Yeah.
And how many stops? Because it's been 3, right?
Yeah. The first stop just happened in Vegas, and then we have the second stop coming up in Houston, and then our finals is in North Carolina.
Awesome.
And we're just now starting to get like more and more like international guys coming over for it. And the cool thing is we have the normal purse for each stop, which is $10K, and then at the last stop we have the point series ending with so another 10K is up for grabs. So, you know,
gives people motivation to go to each one.
And like
try to be the
some
series
dudes is
champion.
like, even if they go to 2 stops, you know, their points are high enough to where they're gonna leave with some cash. So.
Yeah, and then that series is you, correct? Like you're involved with inception.
I kind of had the idea of like, man, I should hit up the organizers and like we should make this, you know, we should turn it into a completely new thing. So, but man, we have like such a good group of guys that like are a part of it, that are working behind the scenes. The group message probably has 15 of us in there between the organizers, and Mickey Gaidos is involved. That he shows up and like rides in the events and films them for the media stuff. And Todd Carter, the Flatlander, he does all the points and the website. I mean, we have like a whole crew that's just like in-house getting it done. Yeah. And then we also have some people out there that really love Flatland, that are helping out with the finance stuff as well. You know, obviously we have sponsors involved, but there's just people out there that just love it. Yeah. They just love it, and they want to keep it going I think these guys want to keep it going as so much that where like they're wanting to set something up to where something happens to them that this stuff doesn't die. So
yeah, that's cool.
That's great.
The format, I think, at least I'm trying to think what the last event I went to outside of Japan, but the event format and X Games Japan, I thought was really cool and different that I've seen anywhere before. Is that something was unique to that event, or is that typical? And then
I forgot what the format was.
Well, it was basically like almost like a best trick battle format.
Yeah,
correct.
It's very Japanese.
Yeah. So it was basically like focusing on essentially one combo, not the overall.
Yeah. Like they actually told us.
I think that was the story, is that you didn't understand the format.
I think a lot of people didn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
It's like they weren't judging on touches
because
and
you were
falls
confused. Yeah, you were really confused because you thought you were dominant, and then you were out the first round.
Yeah, they're like, it doesn't matter how many combos you pulled. It doesn't matter that the other person can touch 15 times, and they don't even have to pull the trick. As long as they pull that section that they wanted, it could possibly or probably will get judged higher than,
because that's kind of why like Uchi will like be in the middle and then he'll celebrate, like he'll be hyped, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because
exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
well, I thought it was really, outside of maybe some nuanced stuff from the viewers aspect, I was like, this is really cool because it was just that best trick style element of like the progression. As I understood it, was like the progression of moving things forward was the overall goal.
Very Japanese.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because that's what they're doing. They're progressing the sport so much. It's absolutely bananas. Like there's so much of the kids coming up through my feed to where it's hard to even click follow because I'm like, this is insane. Yeah. It's just I don't understand how they're able to do it.
I was going to ask if you were a color commentator, announcer, trying to explain a Flatland contest to the average Joe watching TV, or even the average BMXer who maybe rides street or park or whatever, and you were explaining, say, why one rider. Well, let's use 2 examples. Say why you versus Dubby. Did you say Dub or Dub?
Jean William Pavos.
Yeah.
So at least I know more than the average freestyler.
Yeah.
What would you explain to them, like why one run was superior over another, besides maybe mistakes? Like you can always use that, right? Like, well, one rider made mistakes.
Yeah, how do you compare completely a front wheel rider versus a back wheel rider versus speed and power rolling technicality?
I only ask because sometimes I feel like that can get people more invested, if you even want more people invested, but get people more invested in like, oh, okay, I kind of see why that guy won now versus that other guy,
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, it all looked crazy to me. It's fucking sick, but
the judges are split up. And I'm not sure, how it is in Park and Street, but the judges are split up in Flatland to where one is like solely judging touches and falls. One is judging on originality. You know, one may be judging on like presentation, and one's going to be judging on like variety. So every judge is like kind of given their own score in some of the events, but it's very subjective as well, because you are judging someone's art. So when it gets down to like a level of like the top pros, it is going to come down in most cases, not a contest like you're speaking of in Japan, but it's going to come down in most cases on like who held it together and who had like a really clean run. Yeah. I personally have taken like little nuggets from like the greats and try to incorporate that stuff into my run. You know, like Matthias uses the entire floor, and I know that like I've heard judges actually say that like he gets scored high for that. I've seen contests where dudes will stay in their little corner and win. Yeah. But Matthias is going to have a very consistent high placing because like he's utilizing that whole floor, whether it's with a bunch of whips or, you know, half cab stuff. He's going to end up on all four corners. So I've taken nuggets from Matthias and then nuggets from Marty, or just making sure I have like a couple of those signatures in on every single run to make sure that like at least one or two like Terry staples would be in there, you know. And I even goes so far as like try to map out my run to where like Flatland does look better sometimes when it's up closer, as you guys know. So sometimes I'll make sure that like I get as close to that judging table as possible. And like I learned that kind of stuff from Marty of just like if there are two like runs that are very close, they might actually pick you because they were able to like see it better, because they could feel the emotion a little better.
Yeah, because it's impactful because it's right next to your face.
If the table's right here, I mean, I'll try to get as close to it as possible. If it's on that like final run.
Yeah, I mean that's stuff that we talk about in judging clinics, like an example of things we talk about to try to not have an effect on the score, you know, like, oh, just because it was right in your face doesn't mean it was necessarily better than the one that was across the course. It was just more, but you can't help but it being more impactful to you because it was closer, just like anything in life. If it's kind of closer to you or closer to home, you're more wowed, right?
Yeah.
But that's interesting. So the only one I didn't know that you mentioned, or I kind of know, but I'm surprised that it's presentation. So that's where really the artistic side comes through, and it's kind of like, did their riding, like when you say presentation, is it kind of
style?
like their
like, I'm not sure if that's an actual category, but I know like when say I was going to judge an event, I've maybe judged one or two Flatland contests, and it was battle format, so it's easy to judge because you're going rider against rider, so it's pretty obvious who won. But if I ever transfer over to like a judge, I am going to be like looking for like how that whole performance and vibe like made me feel, because Flatland can be like extremely powerful to where sometimes like Matthias walks off the stage and it's like that dude just lit this whole place on fire because the music matched, the tricks like mixed well with the music, the like floor was utilized. It is like a legit presentation.
You guys are all performers in a sense. Like you guys have learned that there's having the crowd love you is just as important for you as a professional rider as it is doing well in that contest. You know, like stuff like, I mean, I'll go back to Japan, but it's like Peraza, after his park run, he gets on the box jump and he's like, and he says thank you to the crowd and I love you and like all this stuff, and all the people in the crowd are like,
that's part of it.
Wow, that's I love, out of everybody on that deck, I love that guy because he took some time out and gave me something. And then you have, you know, fuck it, I'll put it out there, you got grumpy old Dowell who just curmudgeonly walks off the deck, and then it's like nobody's going to remember him really outside of that, you know. And this is where Brian says something fans. Really negative too, because I said something negative.
Well, no, that's fans versus judges though.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying presentation and just like how, but in the Flatland community, they all present like Peraza. They all like, most of them, I mean, Keo is a rock, I guess, but it's like you Alex, all those staples, Matthias, of course, even like the new guys like Vero and Dub and stuff like that. You guys all have a connection with the crowd that makes it enjoyable. Where even if you don't understand the nuance of Flatland, you're like, dude, that was fucking sick. And I think that's like something that
not to keep bringing up Matthias, but like I feel like he's like the greatest contest rider of all time, and how long he held it for. So if you go and like look at like the last 30 seconds of his runs, and you say you pull out like 10 or 15, 20 of those, they're all going to look pretty similar on how he finished that run and what he did with the crowd, and it works. So like don't change it. It works. You know, like it's like his staple. It's how he exits the stage. It's how the bike drops. Sometimes it's, you know, that he probably had that.
I can picture it.
He probably had that Red Bull hat fly off on that last trick. Like 350 times minimum to where that you knew that hat was coming off in 3, 2, 1 hat. You know, to where it, and you knew when the hat went off, like he's getting back on the bike, because it was that point in the run where like he had everyone on the edge of their seats of like looking at the clock of like there's 30 seconds left, there's 20, hats off, 15, 10, beep, you know.
And there's also, I would assume you know this stat is something about like the celebration after the run can have a positive effect. If you complete your run and you just peace off versus the celebration, it actually affects the score in a subjective manner.
Yeah, they did a study with surfing. They did a study with surfing, and it was a legit study where the riders,
scientists,
the surfers who celebrated more after their runs got on average, and in surfing, a half a point is a big deal because I think their scale's like 1 to 40 or something like that. But an average of half a point larger if you celebrated after your run. So it's articles like that we share in our judging community of, hey, just so you know, they've actually studied this and we should be cognizant. We already teach you not to watch their, like, basically tune out their celebration afterwards.
Yeah, as soon as they're done, the judges now they look down. As soon as the buzzer goes.
But the crowd will go nuts. Yeah, the crowd will go nuts, and that's great. Good for the rider. I mean, if they want to make a show out of it that makes BMX better and makes people more hyped, like, that's, you know, as long as it's, I don't know, I myself would ever feel weird doing that, because I was more of the go off the stage kind of person. Maybe like a hello and that's it. But yeah, if that's your thing and it increases the show, that's great.
Didn't you usually rip your shirt off and break a beer over your head?
Say for years and years I did a backflip at the end of every run.
I remember that. Yeah,
like for years and years. And someone had asked, like, man, why do you do that? And the story was like, when my grandmother was alive, when she knew I was going out for a contest, she would always say, like, are you going to do the backflip? And so I would always say, yes, my mom would do the backflip. So after she passed, I was like, I'm not stopping. Until like finally Vanessa's like, your backflips are getting lower and lower and your head's getting like so close to the ground. You're going to like kill yourself after a run.
Especially because you're kind of gassed too, right?
Yeah, you're gassed. Yeah. But if you're hyped, the energy's there. But I'm like, dude, I'm 42. I shouldn't be like flipping.
You could do it after Olympic gold.
Oh, right? Well, I was going to say, you do the backflip, and then Scott accidentally times the ninja kick at the wrong time. He kicks you in the nuts.
I stopped doing it though. So, yeah,
it's still in there somewhere.
Anything else we missed? I feel like seriously, if we haven't stated enough, I feel like we've, like, the documentary, the film, we've referenced it quite a bit. It is a beautiful watch. I think everybody should go purchase it, give it a watch, and then send Terry a DM.
Yeah, no, just want to say, like, thanks to you guys for sitting down. I know this is like, I'm not sure how long we've been in here, but it's like much appreciated.
It's been recording for 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm like I told you, this was like a dream to do this. Like, for many years, I've like watched everyone sit down and just like looked at the pictures on the walls and like just wanted to be in the presence of the room. So thank you.
I appreciate you making it happen. This is, again, one of those things we talked about. You're like, I'm coming to LA. I'm like, I'm free on the 5th. And you're like, I will change my flight take an Uber to your house and we'll do the podcast.
I can't believe we made it happen.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And
that's what you do.
I will say one more thing, because I know you'll follow through, is that I forget to ask beforehand, but if you have something when you go home that you think would fit in this room on the wall, let's talk about it afterwards.
Dude, I'd be stoked to send something. Yeah.
I would love to add to it. I always forget beforehand. As soon as you were like in the Uber on the way here, I was like, fuck, I forgot to ask him for something for the wall.
I'll send you something.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I'll be stoked too.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Enjoy Santa Monica. Time with Brock Rayford. Enjoy time back with the family. Everything else you got coming next.
Thank you guys. I greatly appreciate it. Stoked that we made it happen finally.
Amazon Prime.
Our pleasure. Yep. Watch it now.
Boom.
Thank you, dude.
We did it.
No X Games. No X Games demo.
Oh, no X Games?
No X Games demo. Got confirmation.
That's what I thought I heard.
Yeah. It was somebody, I think it was maybe somebody from marketing or whatever that was like, oh yeah, they're doing an X Games flat demo. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
but
the crazy thing.